So this is the other thing we've been up to as a family. We've been staying in other people's houses for our holidays. I used to have to go and book motels like a fucking idiot for our holidays. Now I can stay in somebody else's house and check out their stuff while they're not there. It's pretty cool. And this is... Landlords is something that, when I was a child, we used to look up to landlords and think they were important people. Now, any old bourgeois Bevan is getting a property and just leveraging off that and getting another one and repeating the process. I know a fucking Coldplay listener who owns 3 houses. You're not special. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for multiple property ownership. How else are we going to continue to gouge the lower classes? What are we, commies? No matter how greedy you are, though, you can't live in more than one house at a time. So you're going to release some of them on the short-term property market. And these are the ones that people like me stay in. And from what I've seen too, landlords now, they're quite into spirituality. They've got all these affirmative statements peppered around their houses. We stayed in one. It was a solid 500 kilometres from the ocean. Still had a bowl of seashells on the kitchen table, though, didn't it? To placate a rat racing city slicker like me. First thing I did when we arrived, I sat down on a couch next to an embroidered cushion telling me to dance by myself. First night we were there, I did my neck on a clapped out futon. I thought, oh shit, that's no good. When I woke up, I thought, oh, it's fine. Someone's nailed a piece of driftwood to the wall over there and put in texture on that, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Well, I probably won't need a doctor, I've read that now. And they had some mosaics on the wall. That's where you get some of your better stuff. A homemade mosaic with some statements. And this one said, oh, time is just an illusion. You know, well, you're damn right it is. The clock doesn't even have numbers. It's just a couple of synchronised dolphins with some sticks swinging around it. I couldn't tell you what time it is. We ended up at this place checking out about 2 hours later at the end of our holiday. Turned out time was a little more fucking tangible in that instance. They also had some canvases on the walls, like those ones that are split up. You know, no frames, why should they? And just all different fonts on there, saying things like, oh, you know, the only thing that'll make you richer, everyone, is travel. And by travel, I mean negative gearing. So by this early stage of our family getaway, I've got to say, my chakras had all turned red. It was only when I saw that there were 3 plates in the whole house, meaning we had to have a fight over who's going to eat their bangers and mash out of a fucking coffee mug. I thought, man, thank goodness all the knives in this joint are blunt, because I'm about to have one here. But nothing relaxes me more when I'm paying off somebody else's 3rd mortgage than to just sink back into a beanbag that's never been washed and read a really thick tablet of rules. Shit that I have to do at someone else's house. And this one is quite the mixed bag of regimented hospitality. I opened it up and it said, oh, welcome to Forest Dreaming Retreat, everyone. Me casa su casa. Yeah. Don't touch the air conditioning settings, you little grubs. Yeah, help yourselves to the Balinese rice terrace and water feature we've prepared out in the backyard for you. Yeah. No kids on the hammocks, you grotty little fucking renters. Yeah.
We're all emotional. That's the point I'm trying to say. We're all emotional creatures. Yet we live in a society that only functions with rigid, unemotional systems. And that's a big problem for us, I think. That's a big problem. You know, it's a source of a lot of tension. Like, I think about the post office, the ultimate. Every time I've ever been into the post office has been for emotional reasons. And everyone who works in the post office is a cunt. I'm not saying that they are, but the system turns them into one. Like, I used to go in there a lot. My wife's from another country. I used to go in there, and one time I went there, I was in a pretty bad way. I'll be honest, even worse than tonight, if you can imagine. And I went in there, and they went, all right, what are you sending? And I went, I've got a package here for the woman I love. I've got a ribbon from her hair. I've got a ticket from our first date, and I've got 20 handwritten notes saying if she doesn't come back home and tell me this is going to be all right, I think I might actually kill myself. All right, weigh it.
Doing bed laundry in the daylights, linens if you're classy. I was doing my bed laundry in the daylight, sober, so I was retaining details. And I went to unsheath the pillow, because the pillowcase, that's the case for the pillow that preserves the pillow. Does not. I don't even know how I got pillows. Nobody remembers, especially dudes. You don't remember when you bought pillows. I moved to Los Angeles in 2003 with 1 pillow. Eventually, I had 5 pillows. at 1.7, then down to 3. No idea, it's just like living in a hostel. Something you get friends, come and go. And I unsheathed what I assumed to be a pillow one day in the daylight. And what I extracted from that pillowcase, it had the same just texture and patina as a Wild West wanted poster. It was just, it was gold and slick. The edges were crumbly and curled. One side was burnt. How did that even happen? It looked like a map to the New World. That's what it looked like. It looked like, it clearly, like whatever fluids come out of my face at night had just, the liquid had just expanded and then create rudimentary coastlines of the Americas over here. Yo, you could tell this is how they went from the Mediterranean to here. This is where the old gays went looking for spices back in the day. That's how we got this. That's what happened when you were gay back in the day and you couldn't tell people in the 1300s in Europe that you're gay. You just like, me and the boys were going on a cruise. And that's how you had to be gay. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, we're looking for cinnamon. That's gay. That's super gay. But that's what they had to do, so thank them for that. You thank them for the spices. This part of the pillow just says, "Here be monsters." That's all it says there. Just browns and yellows and different, and whatever does that to the pillow comes out of my head. Comes out of my head at night. At night when you don't know what's happening. Your unconscious being protects you of the horrors of your physical realm at that point. We all think like, oh, I snore, but probably cute like. Probably whimpers and wheezes. Probably like a new little kitten. No, you snore like a dragon with no lower jaw. That's how you snore. And you emit fluid like a chocolate fountain filled with mucus. That's how we all sleep. Just... You snore like a fire plug filled with pudding. That's how you snore. And you think you can forget until you look at your pillow, which is now just a sponge that collects the memories of your nightmares. Just a document of your savagery. So anyway, I don't look at the pillows in the hotel. I just like staying. I like staying in hotels. I lay in bed way past checkout. That's what I like now. Just base level excitement. Like I use words in conversation that I don't really know what they mean. And that's my bungee jumping at this point. That's it. It's just like I don't know, man. It sounds pretty ubiquitous to me. Non sequitur? I think that's perfectly sequitur. Well, so that's my cheat. I just like laying in bed way past checkout and seeing if I get caught. That's like, checkout's at noon, we'll see. You gotta lay real still. You gotta be real quiet. I call it pulling an Anne Frank. That's what I call it. I lay there. Gets real scary when they're in the hall. Uh-oh. I know, okay, it's hard to do that kind of joke when I look like I should be at home plotting to kidnap a Democratic governor. So...
This happened after a comedy show. This old lady came up to me and she said, "I'm having a private party down at my house in Malibu. It's all Australian themed. I'd like you to come and perform." And I thought, oh, no, shit, it's happening. It's happening. My friends predicted it, and it's happening. And I thought, surely she can't pay me enough money. And then she went, "I'll pay you $3,000. And I went, "Oh, look, what time do you need me to be there? What time?" So I went down to her racist party, and... I'm aware Australia's not a race, but anyway... I went down there. She would have spent $100,000 on this afternoon garden party. It was all Australian themed for her 12 friends. That's all that were there. I was the only Australian. It was fucking weird. It was like an Australian version of Get Out. That's what it felt like. I thought, this doesn't seem safe. I need to leave. And I said to the old lady, I said, do you want me to get up and tell jokes? Do you want me to do stand-up? Is that why I'm here? And she said, no, I don't want you to do that. I just want you to walk around and just be Australian. That's what she said to me. And then she had a handler there. I'm not making this up. They handed me a kangaroo on a leash. A real-life kangaroo. You don't hold a kangaroo on a leash. That's a very strange thing to do. That's like one of you guys having a bald eagle as a kite. Just like, oh. Jesus, why did we get a bald eagle kite? This is ridiculous. He's already shat on Grandma twice. Why did we... So that's what it felt like, having a kangaroo on a leash. And I'm walking around this lady's backyard, just with a kangaroo on a leash, just going up to her 12 guests going, g'day guys, how you going? Yeah, it's a kangaroo. I didn't think that'd be here either, but here we are. Hello. Anyway... shrimp on the barbie, dingo's got my baby, have a nice night! Just saying the stupidest shit that I could think of. Do you know how embarrassing that was? Walking around with a kangaroo on a leash? I would have rather had sex with the old lady, that would be less embarrassing. The kangaroo was embarrassed. He looked up at me and said, do you think if we both fuck her, we can leave? And I went... I don't know, that sounds illegal. I don't think we should entertain that idea. Picture how horrifically offensive that party is, by the way. Put any other culture in that position, how offensive that would be. But we're all laughing, because Australia doesn't count, and I know that. I know that, and I'm okay with that. But she couldn't do that with any other culture. She couldn't say to a couple of guys from India, okay, you Indian guys? Yep, come on in, come on in. Okay, you're just going to be in this 7-Eleven here, okay? I don't want you to just get angry if anyone comes in. Just be like, oh, stop reading the magazines. Get out of here. She can't do that. But she can't say, okay, and you 6 Mexican guys, can you go on the other side of the fence and just try and get into the party the whole time?
The night before the gig, Friday night, I go to sleep and I check my Instagram, and there is an Instagram message from the official blue checkmark Instagram account of the Planters Nutmobile. Planters Peanuts has a car shaped like a giant peanut, and it has an Instagram account, and it sent me a message, and the message read, "Word on the salty streets. That's literally what it said. That is a failed MFA major running that account, by the way. Word on the salty streets is you're doing a gig tomorrow night in Montclair, New Jersey. How would you like to arrive at the theater in style? With a free ride from the Planters Nutmobile. Now, my lizard brain read this message and went, I want to ride in a peanut! Like, I immediately wanted it. And then my super ego kicked in and said, Patton, that's going to be fun for a minute. And then you're going to be on the freeway in a giant peanut, everyone looking at you. They're going to pull up to the theater in a giant peanut, and you're going to exit a giant peanut out of a hatch in the side like a clown fetus. Time to How about jokey bokies? Thank you, Peanut Car. Have some dignity for once in your life. Act like a rock star and turn this down. And I did, and I was really nice about it. I was like, thank you so much for this kind offer. I must politely pass. The venue has already engaged a car, which they cannot cancel. Complete lie. But perhaps in the future, I will avail myself of your generosity. Very sincerely yours, Patton Oswalt. And I went to sleep. The next day, noon, sleek black town car pulls up in front of my hotel. I go down to meet it. My driver gets out. He is a handsome, bespoke-suited, early 50s Egyptian man. If you were going to make an Egyptian James Bond, this is the guy to hire. He goes, Mr. Oswalt, let's see you into the back seat. Off we go to your show. And I get in the back seat, and we pull away like the fucking rock star that I am. We go 600 feet. We're going to make a right on 6th Avenue. And as we make the right, and it's completely my driver's fault, he bumps into and knocks over a guy on a moped. Big, muscular guy on a tiny moped with a skinny little girl hanging off of his back. And it's completely my driver's fault. He has knocked this guy over. The moped guy gets back up and says through the passenger window, hey, man, watch it. You just knocked me over. And my cool, collected, bespoke-suited driver says, fuck you! Fucking watch where you're going, I'll fucking murder you! 0 to psycho in 2 seconds. Then my driver realizes, wait, I'm in a car. He's on a moped. Fuck him. I'm just going to drive away. So he makes the right onto 6th Avenue. He's going to triumphantly drive away. And we go 2 feet because it's a red light. We're not going anywhere. We're stuck right there. The moped driver pulls up next to us, taps on the passenger window. You remember me? Raises his left hand and punches the passenger side mirror off the car. 1 punch. My driver puts the car in park, takes off his seatbelt, gets out, and runs at the moped guy, throwing fists. And the moped guy is huge, but there's a moped between his legs. His girlfriend's hanging off of his back. He's got no real center of gravity, and some of the punches are landing. So he's like, fuck this. And he turns his moped against traffic and zips away the opposite direction down 6th Avenue between all the cars. My driver gets his arms around the girlfriend's waist, but she doesn't let go. So my driver is now dragged away down 6th Avenue. I'm watching all this through the back window. There he goes. That's my driver. I don't know what the fuck to do right now. The light's green, everyone's honking at me. I'm like, you're honking at luggage. There's nothing I can do. You're honking at a baby on board sign. I have nothing to do with it. This car. Block and a half later, my driver loses his grip, falls off, stands up. Half of his suit is torn open, chest is bloody, this side of his face is bleeding, and he doesn't adjust any of it, leaves the suit hanging open, calmly walks back to the car. Everyone is screaming at him, flipping him off, doesn't acknowledge any of it. Gets in the car, closes the door, seatbelt back on, turns to me and says, the fuck was that all about? Like, just serial killer calm. I don't say what the fuck that's about because I'm terrified. We drive to Montclair in silence, get to my hotel. He gets out. Mr. Oswalt, have a wonderful show tonight. We've reached your hotel. I thank him. I tip the shit out of him. He knows where I'm staying. He can climb the side of that building and kill me. Go into my hotel room. I step out onto the balcony. I look out over the city of Montclair, New Jersey, and I said to myself, I apologize, Planter's Nutmobile. Pride and hubris have led me to this moment. I deserve all this tension and terror, and I made a silent vow to myself, if I'm ever offered a ride from a food or product-shaped vehicle, I will accept it with grace and humility. If I'm ever nominated for an Oscar and the Massengill douchemobile wants to bring me to the Kodak Theater, I I will be stepping out of a vinegary sack on wheels to get my prize. Fresh as a Nantucket meadow. Let's do this.
Because that's the thing, you try to be good. But then you go doing drugs and sure, listen. Like if you do MDMA, there's no right or wrong, you know? It's only right or tremendous, you know? Like for me, MDMA stands for morals don't matter anymore. Oh. But the problem is the next day you have to continue being alive. You're going to find this out tomorrow, but the next day you have to continue being alive. And I even remember the day after I did that, I kissed her one, I woke up. Oh, gee. That deep hatred of yourself. Oh. What? I'm no good. My father was right about me. They were all right, you know. I remember I felt this deep shame and guilt. And I went over to my friend's house, the American guy, and I told him, I was like, man, I'm such a scumbag. I kissed this girl, her boyfriend was in the other room. I'm just such a fucking piece of shit. And my American friend was like, dude, this is not on you, dude. She's not your girlfriend, brother. Dude, you didn't even fuck her. Why didn't you fuck her, dude? And again, in that moment, it was the first time I understood America's foreign policy. You know, I understood. Iraq made sense, you know? Ah, yes, fuck everyone, you know? And that's why there's so many serial killers in America. It's not because of the serial killers, it's because they're friends, you know? Because you know there was a day that Jeffrey Dahmer walked into a kitchen and he just there, well, Brian, I gotta tell you something. I've been killing people. I've been eating people. It just ain't no damn good. And his friend was like, dude, this is not on you, dude. People taste delicious, brother. I mean, dude, you're not even fucking them. Why aren't you fucking them, dude? And he's like, well, Brian, I have been fucking them. That's mainly what I've been doing, truth be told. I'm doing a lot of MDMA of late, you know.
I do admire racists in Northern Ireland. It's good to have heroes, no? I just admire people that have tough jobs. That's a tough job. Being a racist in Northern Ireland, it's such a white place that they have nowhere to put their racism. So they saw my slightly tanned dad and were like, that'll do, we're in, we're doing it. It's such a white... Northern Ireland is such a white place. And people don't believe me. It fucking is. It's... Just ask Liam Neeson. If you don't remember what I'm talking about, Liam Neeson, on TV, in an interview, decided to tell a little story. He told the story about how his friend had been assaulted by a black man in Northern Ireland. And in his very Liam Neeson way, he went, so I got a bat. And I walked through the streets of Northern Ireland for 2 weeks trying to find some black bastard to beat the shit out of. Liam Neeson tried to find a black guy to beat up for 2 weeks and couldn't. That's incredible. And he just ran out of racism. After 2 weeks, he was like, they're fine, I guess. Because he had no one to be racist to. And I think that's the solution to racism. Just get rid of them. No, you can't clap that, actually. Please don't.
Story. I said, hey, ChatGPT, write me a joke about China, okay? That's what it gave me. Why did the Chinese man wear a red string around his wrist? So he could find his way back to his noodle shop. Yeah, not cool, bro. All right, that's definitely racist. But I'm not sure why. It sounds like it was written by a guy who wants to be racist about Chinese people, but has none of the details. Yeah, bloody Chinese with their fucking red string in their shops, it's a disgrace! Why can't they all get back in their hot air balloons and fuck off back to Antarctica? I've done no research! Generally gave me that joke, and then just a second later, this paragraph appeared underneath it. It said, it's important to note that making a joke about an entire country can be considered offensive. It's important to avoid telling jokes which demean a group of people based on their race, ethnicity, or culture. You just did the noodle shop joke. It's there. It's like in the 2 seconds between paragraphs, the chatbot was sent on a sensitivity training course, reflected on its past material, held itself accountable, and pledged to do better in the future. Which is crazy. It means that this chatbot is more emotionally advanced than Ricky Gervais. Isn't that
Mechanic, he kept saying the word roughly, right? He's like, it's roughly quite a big job. It's roughly going to take 1 to 2 days. Like, he kept saying the word roughly, and he got so in the habit of saying it that he started saying it when he was asking for my details. He was like, roughly, what's your phone number? I'm like, if you want a ballpark, it's about $500 million. Coffee's too strong. This stuff, it's too strong. Yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day, coffee used to be nice. You could drink coffee in the morning and go to sleep the same night. Like, you could even drink it at night time. Like, you could whip up a Blend 43, watch a couple of episodes, and then sink into the night, you know? Nowadays, I have a sip of coffee and I get anxiety and diarrhea. I see my barista and my guts flinch. Having a panic attack in the coffee store, I don't know. There's no drink that's as relaxing as coffee gets you G'd up. Someone's trying to tell me that it was chamomile tea, but chamomile tea sucks. Chamomile tea tastes like if water got wet. I don't know, maybe I'm being harsh. I like the scent of it. I've been using this new chamomile shampoo. Relaxing chamomile flavour. It's good stuff. I was using it for the first time. It's going so well. But then a bit of it got into my eye. And it stung a lot. But I was calm throughout the whole thing. I was like... I don't know, I don't understand it, because people ask me to meet for a coffee. They're like, let's go meet for a coffee. I don't understand that, because what I'm hearing is, let's go do a poo-poo. You know what I mean? It's a 1 hour meeting. We've only got a half an hour of face-to-face time. We're both paying in the toilets for 15 minutes each. All right, I don't know about that one.
See if this has happened to anybody else. Whenever I'm on the phone to me mum, it always makes me need a poo. Give us a woo if that's happened to you. If you're good. I've looked into it. It's a closeness issue. It means that me and those people who wooed, we love our mums more than the rest of you lot love yours. I love my mum so much it makes me shit. Try getting that in a balloon on Mother's Day.
I don't know what it is about old people getting scammed. They just get scammed. Constantly. For some reason, when they fucking get that call, hello, this is the president of the world. Oh, hello, Mr. President. Thank you for calling me. I'll send my credit card immediately. I must. Thank you. You ever been hacked? Ever been hacked and sent everyone you know and love porn? Ever done that? My auntie, Janice, she got a porn from me. She got porn link. She thinks I sent it to her. She thinks I sent that to her. XXX porn, fuck now! Oh, Damien sent an email. It's unbelievable. Can't believe. She thinks I sent that to her. We can't talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't bring it up. I can't double down and pretend I sent it on purpose. Sculpt her and go, hey, what's up, Janice? Fucking, you see that video I sent you or what? It's off the hook. Oh, yeah, she got rammed, yeah. She thinks I sent that to her. I know she saw it too. She fucking acts weird now. She's like, hello. She won't look at me. Hello. Hello, Damien. Good to see you. Hello. Hello. Fucking, I can see the gangbang. I can fucking see it in the eyes. That's a very unique humiliation to our time. That's a very unique humiliation to think that I sent that. Do you know how hard it would be to get that humiliated before the internet? Someone would have to dress up as you and pretend fully to be you and go door to door to your closest friends and family, like, hello, Grandma? Yes, who is it? It's Grandma, it's your grandson, Damien Power. Oh, Damien, what are you doing here? A college slut's looking to fuck. What? What are you talking about? Ray-Bans 50% off. Grandma. There's MILFs in your area, Grandma. There's MILFs. No, the MILFs are back. It's... I like MILFs in your area because it implies they migrate.
My son hates reading. Reading's boring, is what I tell him. I want to read. I try, I can never take in the words. I think I'm dyslexic, but I'm scared to get tested in case I'm not. I could never concentrate at school. I used to get kicked out of class all the time. I got suspended from school. I got caught smoking weed. 14 years of age. Me think me be a ganja man. Ganja man, skin up some fat reefer. Ganja man go house party. Ganja man spark up take huge talk like he be Bob Marley. Ganja man pull a whitey and think he gonna die. Ganja man be rushed to high and he. Ganja man crying like a little baby. Ganja man given mug of hot chocolate by staff nurse. Ganja man grounded for 3 weeks. At home he become masturbation man. Nearly end up in hospital again with his new friend Henry the Hoover.
Yeah, I was on that airline Emirates. Yeah. And the seats recline the most furthest. Yeah, you didn't know that, but yeah. They have, like, a rich cornucopia of entrees, a veritable tapestry of mains, and a wide variety of desserts. Some of the widest selection of options on any modern aeronautical vessel. But when it comes to Emirates, the airline, your freedom drops dramatically when you land in the country. Like the sky to land ratio of freedom plummets dramatically when you land in Emirates. It's Shiraz in the sky, Sharia in Dubai. That's a bit of a limerick for the Irish people in the crowd. Jetstar's the opposite. They're trying to weigh your bag, you're hiding behind a pillar like Anne Frank. Because your bag's a kilo over, you only got $7 left. You try and take Pringles off the tray, she's trying to cut your fucking hand off, you piece of shit. But then you land and you can shoplift and it's fine, so that's cool. That's what we'd like to see and that'd be nice. God damn it. Nasty. Oh, guys. Imagine if there was a fantasy portal from another world and an elf came through right now. You'd be like, you don't belong in this realm. This is a clear realm violation. If an orc came through, you'd be like, I just saw your colleague from the Enchanted Forest, the elf. What's going on here? This is unbelievable. This bit goes for 7 hours, by the way, so... It's going to make Lord of the Rings look like a fucking TikTok, but yeah. I hope you're familiar with folklore, but imagine if there was a fantasy portal and a dwarf came through. You'd be like, yeah, we've already got you. Visiting or returning, like you'd have to check, you know, like customs, like Form 2Qs, like you're a resident or you're a tourist, you know, we've got to... Fantasy authors are crazy. It's the only mythological character that's just a regular dude. Like a dwarf in Narnia is a dwarf in Redfern. There's no difference. Do you think a wizard's ever hanging out with a dwarf? They're just looking at a crystal ball. He's like, yeah, you know there's a parallel universe where you can get the disability pension? I mean, you don't have to slay dragons for gold. They'll just give it to you. So, like, you can teleport, baby. But my parents, they're always trying to get me to go to, like, Othello, King Lear, Hamlet. And I'm like, no, I'm good at it. I can just get the train and see some meth head have the most hectic conversation on loudspeaker of just Shakespearean levels of paranoia and drama. You tried to poison me, you dog. I trusted you and you turned your back on me just as I was down. He's holding a skull, reminds me of my dad. It's a possum skull from an electrical incident, but it's the same vibe. He's with one of the witches from Macbeth, just whispering shit in his ear, getting him all riled up. He did betray you, stab him. Instead of a cauldron, she's got a Yui boom, just blasting Skrillex on the quiet carriage, making everyone uncomfortable. Don't you worry, child. There's a guy headbutting a payphone. Why have you forsaken me? They should tap all payphones, record all the conversations and release it as an audio book called McMeth. Then maybe I could get some REM sleep. I haven't slept for 4 years. That's why this is happening. They come up to you out of the street, these characters. Slings and arrows of misfortune, nangs and durries cost a fortune. Meth heads are like bridge trolls because they speak in riddles and block your path. And if you don't solve them, you get hepatitis. They're like, you, me and 3 hobgoblins stole Mr. Magoo's wand, yes? And you're trying to calculate the best response that's going to minimise the situation. You're like, maybe if I participate in his version of reality, he'll appreciate that and let me pass into the gentrified zone. So I can go to Fishbowl. You're like, yeah, I remember. He's like, wrong, motherfucker. God damn it. I dropped acid before this and I'm still trying to find it and people offer me acid oil. I'm like, I'm already tripping. You don't bring paprika to Sandeep's Curry Hut. It's spicy enough. Like, man, we glorify serial killers now. Eh? There's no segues here. You know, like, remember Ted Bundy? They got Zac Efron to play him. That's not right. Serial killing's the only crime where you get a glow up. When I got caught stealing a Yabby pump from Aldi, they just released the CCTV footage. They didn't hire Chris Hemsworth to reenact it. And now they go into the origin story of these sick puppies. You know, they go right back on the backstory. They're like, yeah, he had a weird relationship with a frog when he was 6. So you start empathising with them. You're like, yeah, I get it, brother. If I had a weird relationship with a frog when I was 6, I'd also store my co-worker's torso in a barrel of acid and dissolve it. Jeffrey Dahmer's got a better chance of redemption than Ellen DeGeneres. That's the problem with Ellen. She didn't go far enough. She stopped her bullying. She should have cut him up into tiny pieces. Then people would visit her in prison and watch her dance through the plexiglass. Just... with the sticker-skewered heads swiveling around like a kebab spit. That's Ellen, my Ellen, baby. I love you. You're a monster. You're my monster. Voldemort's got a better chance of a comeback than the woman who created him. She who must not be named. Because I think it's better to dismember than misgender. You can't microdose evil, you've got to double drop. If you make a faux pas at a party, just eat everyone there. Because then they'll make a documentary about it. They'll be like, he was hangry. I don't know what noise that was, but I feel like a farmer whose animals are turning against him, but... Remember that movie? But you know President Zelensky? I love this guy. I'd love to have a fling with Zeleng. Because of the way he looks. My friends call me Finocchio because the more I lie about being gay, the harder my dick gets. I'm like, I like pussy, boy. That was as hard to do as it was to listen to. That's a free trade agreement. But he's at peak hero, Zelensky. Like, you can only go down from there. One mistake. You know, when you're at peak hero, like, he'll be rude to a waiter. Someone will film it, it'll be like, bye-bye, Zelensky, bye now. Meanwhile, Putin will get diagnosed with ADHD, and we'll be like, that's why he did it, I guess. One of the symptoms is an ex in Crimea now he'll release a book, Mein Kampf, My Struggle with Focus. How I conquered the Ukraine and my ADHD. It'll be I'm still trying to work out who the coward is in the coward punch thing. Because on the one hand, you've got a guy who's willing to risk it all. His reputation, a prison sentence, a job at Nando's, probably. All just to hit a stranger for absolutely no reason. And on the other hand, you've got a guy who dies from one punch. What a pussy. You know, like... Who's the coward in this situation? The guy who achieved what Mike Tyson couldn't? Or Humpty Dumpty head slumped on the sidewalk like a rag doll? I prefer when it was called a king hit, because it takes a king of a bloke to down another with one foul swoop. More like the brave cunt special punch, but yeah, I don't work in marketing, you're a consultant, let's make it happen.
I realise that not all avocados are the same. You don't know till you know. Like, you know, when you buy avocados, it's top of mind the whole time. Like, if you've got avocados at home, you're thinking about it right now. Any other fruit and veg, you don't give a shit. The kids will go, the potatoes look weird, put it in the bin. Who gives a shit? The avocado, you will sift through the green bits with it. Oh, we can save that. Save that. You have half a teaspoon of avocado, go, we can still make the guacamole. Just need 14 kilograms of tomatoes. But you know the lifespan where that avocado is, because it's almost like days of our lives with the avocado. Because when you're ready for the avocado, it's not ready for you. And when it's ready for you, you're not home. The avocado will usually give you roughly 10 seconds from when it's ripe to when it's ruined. Right? Let avocado go, hey, I'm ready, 10, 9, 8, ha, lied, I'm rotten. But you don't know how much you know about something till you see what other people know about stuff. Like, I really got into TikTok in a very big way, right? In a big way, like 8 hours a day. And I don't have a job. So then, and I don't work out. I just freeze up a lot of your day. And I saw that I was doing avocados wrong. But I used to just have the basic approach to avocado, like someone born in the 70s, right? You cut it open, you whip it up, take the pip out, take a spoon, another spoon. There's your avocado. But then I saw on TikTok people do it different. They peel the avocado, then they take a knife and they slice it like that, then they put it on a plate and they And now there's little slices that you can put on a cracker with some cheese and shit, and it's real fancy. And I'm like, I'm going to be a fancy one too. So I got some of those avocados and I peeled them. And my avocados didn't look like their avocados, because my avocados had black spots all over them. And then I thought, uh-oh, my avocados are diseased. But they weren't diseased at all, were they? No. My avocados had fingerprints on them. Because my community would go out to the supermarket and squeeze the shit out of all of the avocados to see if they're ripe or not. So all those black spots are fingerprints. That avocado has been fingered so much. If that was a human being, you wouldn't marry it. Yeah, I just slut-shamed an avocado. I don't give a shit. I just thought, I'm not going to deal with it anymore. The change starts with us. You've heard Oprah say it. Now I'm saying it to you. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to start doing some volunteer work at my local supermarket. Out of the goodness of my own heart, I would go to the supermarket and I would take one of those little trolleys so I could move quickly, right? And I would just patrol the produce section. I tell you, if you want to learn things about people, like people go, I love going to the mall, I love to just people watch. Go to the produce section. Your mind will be blown. You cannot believe the people who live in your community. So I take the trolley and I parade up and down that produce section and I just watch people. And if I see anyone squeeze an avocado, I follow them. And I will be patient. We can be 4, 5 aisles down. And if there's anyone, like, they go to get some olive oil, I'll sneak up to their trolley and I squeeze the shit out of everything in their trolley. I'll even snap the spaghetti in half. Yeah, I'm an animal. For the next 2 weeks, every time they use anything, I want them to go, this is ruined too. We're never going back to that supermarket. Like, good bitch, go somewhere else. Go ruin shit somewhere else. It's fascinating watching people in the produce section. Do you know how many people sniff fruit? Especially pineapples. What are you, like one of those glucose dogs that the diabetics use? What the fuck is happening with you? No. No, and it doesn't matter what they sniff or squeeze, it's always the third one that's going in the trolley. No, go! Those are the same people who will knock on a melon. Have you seen these people? Have you seen these animals? The best is they wait for a response. I just want to sneak up behind them and go, help me.
I had a kid come up to me at work. He said to me, he was like, Lewis, when were you born? Which is a polite way of saying, when are you going to die? I said, 1995. And his eyes lit up. He got like the biggest look of excitement came over his face. He was like, oh. And this is truly what he said. He was like, oh my God. You must remember, you would have been around for, you would have been around for, you would remember the screaming goat. And I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about, man? And then he explained it to me, and when he explained it to me, I actually did remember. Some of you obviously remember. The Screaming Goat was one of the first viral YouTube videos, one of the first videos on YouTube to go massively viral. All it was a video of a goat standing in a paddock, and it just went, ah, ah. That's a perfect rendition, by the way. Google it tonight, you'll be like, fuck, he nailed that fucking screaming, ah, ah. You might remember this chapter in the saga. Some genius took the audio of the Screaming Goat and clipped it into a Taylor Swift song. So it was like, I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Now I'm lying on the cold, hard ground. Ah! Ah! And to this kid, that's a monumental moment in human history. He was so intrigued. He actually said, he was like, what was it like when it dropped? It was crazy, man. I wasn't going to lie to him. I mean, we all remember it was fucking hectic, wasn't it? It was intense. It was actually dangerous. It got out of hand. Everyone just running through the streets. Do you remember that day? Oh, my God. Ah, ah! Pandemonium. People lying in the middle of the road reenacting it. Now I'm lying on the cold hard ground. I've actually lived through some pretty significant shit, mate. Major historical moments, you know? I saw heaps of shit. I saw the double rainbow dude. I saw succulent meal or whatever. I remember when Charlie bit the other one on the finger. I've seen heaps of shit. Genuinely, though, I actually have, you know? I remember Corey Worthington's party. I remember when Hot Dogs turkey slapped that woman on Big Brother. To me, it feels like just yesterday that guy on A Current Affair was like, rah, 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 rah. That's my screaming goat, man. That guy was barking like a dog on TV before the screaming goat was a glint in the algorithm's eye, brother. I got a bit sad about it. I went home that night. I was like, as if that's what this kid wants to know about. Of all the historical moments that I've been alive for, that's what he's fascinated in. It made me misanthropic. I was like, that's a sad thing. And then I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I'm not giving it enough credit. Let's check, you know? Maybe it's better than I remember. Maybe I've misremembered it. So I Googled it. It's exactly the same. It's more exactly the same than I thought it could be, the screaming goat. And then I got a bit obsessed. I don't know if you do this sometimes. Like, I got into a bit of a rabbit hole. I wanted to find out who posted it for some reason. I was like, who posted the original screaming goat clip? You know, it went so viral. Who uploaded it? Found out it was a kid in Europe, right? Teenager in Europe. He posted the video. But then I found out it's not even a real video. This blew my mind. This kid, right, is just mucking around. He took a video that already existed of a goat, right? That was already online. And then he just downloaded it, muted the audio, and then he got one of his mates or something to go, He re-uploaded that, and then everyone in the whole world was like, how funny is this goat? And at the time, all these animal experts, vets and scientists went online and said to everyone, hey everyone, just so you know, that's not a goat making that noise. Goats can't make that noise. It's definitely not a goat. And everyone in the whole world just went, fuck off, it is a goat. We want it to be a goat, so it is a goat. And now we all think of it as a goat. I started thinking, maybe this was a more impactful moment than I gave it credit for. We live in a world now where truth doesn't matter as much as it used to. Reality, facts, these things matter less and less. Politicians lie openly. They don't even pretend like they're not lying. Countries commit war crimes. People are like, that's a war crime. They're like, we didn't do it. But there's footage of you doing it. Yeah, well, we still didn't do it. Maybe the screaming goat was the birth of the post-truth era. That was the moment, as a society, we decided it doesn't matter if it's real, doesn't matter if it's a goat or not, fact or fiction, truth or reality or not, it doesn't matter. That Taylor Swift remix, that's like the anthem of misinformation. This is what I realised. So I went back into school the next day. I went straight up to that kid. I was like, mate, I'm so sorry I laughed at you. You're absolutely right. That was a pivotal cultural moment, and I said to him, I said, fucking well done you for noticing that. And he was like, he's quite young, he was like, oh my God, you just swore. And I was like, no, I didn't. And he was like, you did, I heard you. And I was like, well, you're being anti-Semitic. Because if all else fails, you know.
The problem with English people is that they think they're factory default. You know what I mean? They're like, there's English, and then everybody else is so weird. That's because you grow up with English people, you don't know anything different, and they're on TV, you just think that's normal. When you've never met English people before, and you meet them for the first time, I'm here to tell you that you guys are fucking freaks. You're spooky, and I'm done pretending I enjoy your company, right? What are you on about ever? And I moved to London at the age of 18 to study classical music at a music college. So I met the Englishest of English people of all time. Like if you cross Benedict Cumberbatch with a crumpet, like that's who I was dealing with. I remember moving over. I was very, very stressed, very upset about moving away from Belfast and moving in with all these English people. I was unpacking in residential halls and my mum was there and she was trying to talk me down from this emotional height. She was like, listen, Vittorio, they're not all bastards. They just talk like that. I was like, no, they're fucking dickheads, man. They think I'm drunk, they think I'm lazy, they think I'm stupid just because of my accent. I'm fucking sick of English people. It's day one in England and I've got them sussed. I'm sick of it. I want to go home. She was like, no, they don't think any of those things. You're being silly. You're just getting stressed about moving away and you're trying to come up with excuses to get away with it. You're stressed about moving away. You're coming up with excuses, right? I was like, oh, fuck's sake. She was like, You've got 6 new flatmates. I'm sure they're lovely. Go into the kitchen, introduce yourself, give them a chance. I was like, okay, I'll give them a chance. Went down to the kitchen, introduced myself, and first person I met was a girl called Eva. And Eva was one of my flatmates in first year. And she studied at a secondary school called the Purcell School, which is a specialist music secondary school. There's a few of them around the country. And most people that go to specialist music secondary schools end up at music college. So it's not like normal unis, where everyone arrives, you're all strangers, you're just trying to figure out what your friendship group's going to be for the next 3 or 4 years. They arrive in pre-made cliques with the dorkiest in-jokes you've ever heard in your whole life, and you have to just pretend it's cool when you arrive. I walked in, I was like, oh, Eva, what should we do tonight? And she went, I tell you what we should do. We should play this game that we played at the Purcell School. It's a drinking game where you listen to Mozart and you drink every time it changes key. I was like, or we could all jump out the window. Because that sounds equally fun to me. I didn't actually say that. I didn't say anything. I just stood up, left the kitchen, phoned my mum, like, you lied, they're all bastards, actually. She was like, no, you just met a weird one. Go down to the bar. It's the first night of Freshers Week. Give them another chance. Introduce yourself to English people. I was like, okay, I'll give them another chance. Went down to the bar, tried to introduce myself to English people, tried to give them a chance. Walked up to an English guy, I was like, all right, mate, what's the crack? That was a mistake. Because when you say, what's the crack to English people, you guys freak out. You do this double take that's also like something out of the film Predator. I'm like, what's the crack? And they're like, oh my God. Are you Irish? Oh my God. I'm Irish? Because you don't want to say, no, you're not. Because obviously I live in England, and if and when I have kids, they'll probably have English accents. See if they ever come up to me like, oh, Daddy, I'm English. I'll kick them in the face. So I get it. But you keep going through, you find out all these mad English traditions. They're like, oh my God, it's bonfire night. I'm like, what's bonfire night? Because we don't have bonfire night in Belfast. We do. It's just not in November. And it's a different vibe, I think. I think Ross Kemp goes to your one slightly less often. So I was like, what's bonfire night? They're like, oh my God, it's great. We have fireworks. I'm like, why do you have fireworks? So there was this guy, cold guy, and he tried to blow up Parliament. So every year we're like, woohoo! Because we killed him. What? No, listen, no. All I'm saying is I'm from Belfast. If you're putting on celebrations for people trying to blow up London, when's my night? They find out you're from Belfast, they always ask the same question, like, oh my God, you're from Belfast. What is all the fuss about? Fuss is an interesting word to use for civil war. No, what is the difference between Catholics and Protestants? I'm like, Protestants, icebreakers? No. Because they're natural predators. Realistically, it all comes down to transubstantiation. If you don't know what that means, basically means that Catholics genuinely believe that the bread and wine turns into the body and blood of Jesus Christ. And Protestants genuinely believe that Rangers are going to win the league. But I like English people sometimes. I think English people make me laugh quite a lot. Past 5 or 6 years, English people have really started making me laugh. They started saying a really funny thing. In the past 5 or 6 years, English people have started complaining about living in a divided country. Did I not say that right? That is hysterical. It's so difficult living in such a divided country. Do you know what you guys did? Everywhere. Do you know how many whatever the fuckistans there are? You went round the world drawing random lines through everyone else's country, and you have one referendum. You're like, this is tricky. This is tricky.
There is someone who I'm trying to emulate, by the way. It's not just like doom and gloom. I have like a hero who has a good time, who I'm trying to follow and learn from. I heard about him from a friend of mine. He's like my cool friend. He goes all around the world going to techno concerts? Recitals, techno recitals. I don't know anything about that. I read big books about the Second World War with different guys. So he goes all to the techno recitals, and he was telling me about a techno venue in Berlin called Berghain, right? Now, Berghain, it's like a 5-story former industrial site, originally very much a sort of gay BDSM techno club, and they've expanded their remit to almost any BDSM. And you can queue up and stuff, but you can't like pay to skip the queue or pay to get in. It's very exclusive in a way money can't buy. It's very trendy, very discerning. Obviously outside there's a guy dressed as a tramp. Oh, I wish I was being fisted by a Hungarian man. Anything to enhance the fun inside. And when you go inside, it's like amazing techno DJs and like people like having sex and doing drugs. It's like the apocalypse in there. And he's telling me all about it, and I've got nothing. Oh, it sounds like Sicily 43. I got nothing. And he says there's a guy who's quite well known, and you meet him in the sort of gents' toilet, right? And what he does is you go in there, and he has sort of tied himself up under the big trough in the loo, yeah? And if you go to the loo for a wee, this guy will ask you in English and German very politely if you wouldn't mind, sir, perhaps considering having a wee on him as well, because it's his favourite. And if you say no, he's like, no worries, you have a good night. You know, it's all very civilised, in context. And he is known colloquially as the Piss Goblin. And you can Google him, Piss Goblin Berlin, as I did, seconds after this conversation finished. And I don't know if there's anyone I currently admire more than the Goblin. I really mean it. Even as my friend was describing the Piss Goblin, I was thinking, now here is a guy with no questions left. This guy knows who he is. This guy knows what he wants. Piss. But it's a big deal to know what you want, isn't it, out of life? There's a lot of people in this room who don't know what they want yet. This guy's got it nailed down. He knows what he wants, and he goes and he gets it. Even if you're sitting here and you know what you want, have you got it yet? The Goblin has. The Piss Goblin knows what he wants. He goes and he gets it. Where does he get it? Somewhere he is safe and known and accepted for who he is. There's no one in this room as fulfilled as the Piss Goblin. He's the freest man I know, and he's chained to a urinal. I can't imagine the inner strength it gives him, knowing that all that stuff's just figured out. He's out there now, some regional German civil servant. He's filling in report after report into Autobahn maintenance, you know. His boss is a real dick. Wo sind diese Berichte? Schnell! And he's like, I'm doing them, my God! Oh, roll on, Freitag. Oh. Lieben für das Weekend, recht? Ja.
I still get, when I fly, which is rare these days, I still get the random search, right? Which is obviously drug related at my age. Now, for example, fairly recently I went to South Africa to do the Cape Town Comedy Festival. Very privileged, only white acts on. It was absolutely a brilliant experience. Although I have to say, a little bit tricky for me going to South Africa. And you can laugh at me rather than with me on this one, because I am still boycotting South African products because of apartheid. I bet there's people in there that don't even know what apartheid is. It was that long ago. And I think what it is I'm one of these people that hold on to my political grudges. I think a lot of old people do that. No matter how outdated or unfashionable they become, you're still there, that's who I am, that's what I believe in. And my kids laugh at me, and I get that. But I think what's happened is I've turned into a modern version of my granddad, and I'm sure some of you remember this generation of British boycotters, he refused to buy Japanese stuff because of what happened to our lads during the war. And we laughed at him. But he kept it up till the day he died, which was in the late 1970s, which meant he had fuck all in his house. No fridge, no radio, no television. I doubt he even had the means to know the war had ended, the silly old sod. Then here I am doing exactly the same thing. But you know, when you're white and English, how far back do you go with this stuff? What? Croissants after 1066? I'm not going to IKEA till the Vikings say they're fucking sorry. So I got the random search twice. That's not random, is it? You get it on the way there, you get it on the way back. That's not fucking random. And it's very difficult when you're older. You know, be prepared for this. People on authority, they're all younger than you. You can't even take them seriously. He's pulled me over. I have to go through the process. I've done it so many times. And he looked at me and he went, "Did you know, sir, that it's illegal to bring drugs and firearms into the country?" Who in here doesn't fucking know that, right? I thought, why is he speaking to me like I'm a bit of a fucking imbecile? So I went, fucking hell! It's illegal now, is it? This must be the Brexit thing kicking in. I think you should put a sign up for something as important as that. Now you've fucked up all my gift ideas. Then he brought out the drug sniffer dog. Now, I've never been sniffed up by a drug sniffer dog in my life, given my previous lifestyle. Comes as a bit of surprise. So I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And immediately, I looked at the dog and I thought, wow, when I was younger, and maybe got up to a little bit of mischief, I always thought if ever I was going to get nicked by a dog, it'd be a German Shepherd. There's no shame in that, is there? Cocker fucking spaniel. How humiliating would that be to be nicked by your nan's dog, basically? But then I had a brainwave. I thought, hold on a minute. Drug sniffer dog, what a great pet that would make. You'd never lose your drugs ever again. And you'd always know where to buy drugs. Just take your dog for a walk. Although on a sadder note, when they finish their careers and end up in Battersea Dogs Home, do you think all the other dogs in there treat them like grasses and nonces in the net? Because they work for the old bill, don't they? Hey, the fucking Rottweilers want to see you later, mate, all right? I was just going to say my drug of choice has changed, but now it's a drug of necessity. Painkillers. I don't know if I'm the only one. Most people I know that are over 50, certainly over 60, are on painkillers now because they're suffering from what my doctor calls, and I've got to tell you, this pisses me off, wear and tear. Wear and tear. It's a bit generic, isn't it? I want something with a Latin name, don't you? I said, can we call it wearers tearers? It sounds more serious, isn't it? So I wake up in the morning with me wearers tearers, as I'm sure one or two of you do, and I found a cup of coffee, a couple of painkillers, just takes the edge off the day. But it's actually harder to get painkillers than cocaine. What kind of world are we living in? Cocaine, 30 minutes on the phone. Painkillers, they ask you lots of questions before they hand it over, don't they? You wouldn't get a cocaine dealer doing that, would you? Are you on any other medication? Hey? When they do that in chemists now, I've started going, of course I am. What do you think I am, a fucking lightweight? Do you operate heavy machinery? I went, do I sound like a northerner to you? Yeah, I'm in my lunch break, mate. I've got to get back on the spinning jenny in 5 minutes. I'm from London, we've got fucking computers now. Why are you asking me these questions? And they went, well, here's the thing, so after 3 days of taking these painkillers, you could become addicted. And I thought, who would look at my face and think that bloke needs advice on drugs and firearms? I said, don't worry about me. I must have been part of every youth culture, every drug-related youth culture since the late 1960s. I must have sampled every drug we've all ever heard of. You telling me it's going to be now, then, at my age, after 3 days of taking Nurofen? That's going to be the thing, is it, that finally and eventually pushes me over the fucking edge? Put me wife on the game to feed me habits, sell me blonde kids to Romanian gypsies, yeah. It was all going all right, so they brought that Nurofen Plus out. That's what fucked me right up.
Anyway, what I'm saying is we have to stop thinking like robots. I've thought of a way of saving Earth from robot thinking. I used to have friends, I've still got them actually, friends, good friends, and I didn't agree with them at all. I don't even like them. Look at guys that come around. My wife still says to me, why is this guy coming around for dinner? You hate this guy. I'm like, I know, but he's my friend. That's how it works. But now it's like, you know, you have to think like a robot. Agree with me or you're wrong. You think the way I think or you're cancelled. So we have to stop thinking like robots, and we all have to think more like my Auntie Betty, who lives right here in this city. All right, she doesn't. I believe she does. No, my Auntie Betty is a very emotionally well person. She's a very emotionally developed, a very emotionally intelligent human being. If she disagrees with something you say, if she thinks you're talking shit, she doesn't try and cancel you. Here's how you know you're talking shit around my Auntie Betty. You say whatever crap you say, and then if she thinks you're talking crap, she'll do this. She'll say, oh, is that right? Well, shows what I know. Then you know you're talking shit. Now, I'm very fond of my Auntie Betty. I'm very close with her still. She's not that much older than me. She's about 16 years older than me. And when I was born, my mum was very sick. She's my mum's youngest sister, so she looked after me when I was a baby. You know, she looked after me when I was very young. It was the 1960s, and she was the first person, actually, that put the idea of a place called America in my head, because she loved American rock and roll, loved it. Her favorite was Little Richard. And I know. She used to sing Tutti Frutti to me as a lullaby. And I was like, Tutti Frutti, oh la Rutti. Go to sleep, you little bastard. Years later, when Little Richard was on my late night show, I was surprised he didn't have a Scottish accent. And he was surprised when I fell asleep during Tutti Frutti. That's stupid. That's stupid. You can't fall asleep during Tutti Frutti. Tutti Frutti, I'm awake. Anyway, about 18 months ago, I was talking to my Auntie Betty. I was in Scotland. I was talking to my Auntie Betty, and some offers were coming in to go on the road and start doing stand-up again around these great United States. She said, are you going out? Are you going out and do a stand-up tour? I said, you know what? I don't think I will, Auntie Betty. She was like, why, Craig? Why? It's always been your dream to appear in this city. I said, she said, you love doing stand-up. Why wouldn't you go out? I said, to be honest, Auntie Betty, it's the young people. It's the young people. I feel like they're waiting on the balls of their feet, waiting for you to say something wrong, anything wrong, and then they're boom, and you're cancelled. That's it. It's over. You're done. And not only are you done now, anything you ever did is done. You're over. You never existed. They're terrible. And she said, oh, no, I don't see it that way at all with the young people. I said, what? She said, no, Craig, the young people today, I see it more like, do you remember that old David Bowie song in the 1970s when he sang, changes? And I was like, no, Auntie Betty, no, not changes. They're fascists. That's what they are. They're just after. They're little kind of they're pitchforks and they're terrifying. They're nasty little Nazis. And then it went quiet, and then she said it. Oh, is that right? Shows what I know. That's when I knew I was talking shit. So I had to rethink my whole worldview about the young people. I had to alter my entire Weltanschauung. You're welcome, one German academic. Finally, a joke for me. Oh, that's cool. I was hoping to maybe would be at least one German joke, and here we are. God, it's stupid. Stop it. German people don't walk like that. At the moment. Although I get a sense some people are stretching and getting ready, though. The word Weltanschauung it's a German word. It means worldview. And I had to change my entire worldview about the young people. So I did. And here's what I think about the young people now. Here's the truth of it. You're right. It's your turn. It's not my turn. You're the youth. I'm old. I had my shot at it. If you guys want to take over and change the way the world works, how society works, how gender works, how music works, how politics works, how everything works, if you want to change it all, do it. You're right. It's your turn. I love you. I love you, my Gen Z and millennial brothers and sisters, and I support you. However, if I accidentally cross over a line that you guys drew 20 minutes ago, and it will be accidental because I'm listening, I wouldn't be just going, oh, sorry, didn't hear you, ah. If I accidentally cross over that line, or more likely I crossed over that line 20 years ago before you were born, then at that point, I also have to say, with all the love in the world, go fuck yourself. That to me seems fair.
I feel very lucky nowadays. I've got really lovely friends. And I feel very, very lucky for that. Because I grew up without many friends at all, really. I found making friends at school very, very difficult. And I think it's because I was hiding who I was. I couldn't really be myself. I was always on edge. I was worried that people were going to find out something about me. So I never really had any mates. But don't worry, there's not been any sort of lasting damage. It's not like I've got to go on stage 5 times a week to make strangers laugh, to make me feel full. It's not like that. It's not like once a week, it's not like that. You don't need to worry. There was one girl at school that picked on me every single day. She picked on me every day. Now, I mentioned before, I know I'm not a super famous person, I've got a low level of fame, but occasionally I pop up on the telly. And every single time I pop up on the telly, this girl that picked on me the whole way through school slides into my DMs. Like, oh, hi, Suze, how are you doing? Great to see how well you're doing. I saw you on Mastermind last night. Well done. Oh, my God, next time you're in Portsmouth, me and you, we should go for a drink. Like, yeah, we should. It'll be arsenic. She was horrible to me. But now, because she's started following me, I've started following her. And apparently when you follow someone you don't like, it's called hate following. Everyone that's just laughed are the bitches in the room. They've just really outed themselves. Hey, that one that clapped is the queen bitch. No, don't worry, I'm not knocking you, I'm doing it too, okay? It's not big, it's not clever, okay? But it means when you just go on their page occasionally just to go, I fucking hate you. Done up your lounge, have you? Grey, is it? Living, laughing, loving. Are you? Sailing Dunelm, was there? You know, bitchy. But I've now become slightly obsessed by her life. It's not grown up. This isn't a suggestion. Don't do this. I'm just telling you what I've done. A lot of her posts are about her husband, about how wonderful he is. She's got this wonderful husband. And it's not because they're straight. Like, I love straight people. You heard that before. Mum and Dad are straight. I love straight people. And honestly, some of my best friends are bisexual, so I do love straight people. But she put up these pictures of her husband, all in black and white, being like, he's the salt to my pepper. He's the bread to my butter. He's my light in the darkness. He's my husband. And I know it's not going as well as she's pretending, because I know that last year in Ibiza she gave a waiter a blowy. So I know it's not going as well as she's pretending. Sure, I shouldn't have written underneath, but she shouldn't have started the nickname Rough Muff while I was still a virgin. We learn, don't we? We learn, Lacey. I shouldn't say her name, we're recording this. Can't like that. I obviously didn't write it underneath. I'm not that brave. I did the classy thing. I screen grabbed it and popped it in a WhatsApp group. I did the classy thing. But she constantly tries to virtue signal. Now, I'm not talking about people sharing important information that we all need to learn about. She is constantly wanting to tell people that she is a good person, because she is the devil. She's constantly trying to tell people that she's a great person. One of the ways that she does this, and I've got to be very careful with this material because my audience are always lovely people, so I mean it with love. but she needs to let everyone know that her pets are from a rescue centre. I'm just going to say one thing. Once you've rescued your dog, it's just your fucking dog. You don't need to refer to it as a rescue dog. It's just a dog. It's your dog now. You've rescued it. Well done. We're all very proud. She does the same about her cats. Look at my cats. Look at my adopted cats. Look at my little adopted cats. I adopted all of them. If I hadn't adopted these cats, they'll be out on the Edgware Road turning tricks. Look, I adopted these cats. All cats are adopted. Even if you paid for your cat, you adopted your fucking cat. No one is birthing cats. No one's having a litter of cats. If you are, leave this show, go to the Natural History Museum, it's just down the road.
My point is, things have always been changing, haven't they? Like, for the entirety of human history, things have been changing, and there have been people complaining that things are getting worse, while by and large, things have constantly been getting better. And I know it doesn't feel like that at the moment, the world at the moment, it feels a bit sad, doesn't it? But, you know, things have basically been improving, and there's just been people constantly moaning about it all the time. I mean, you know, in 1658, there was someone saying, have you heard of these doctors they have now? Society is going down the toilet, which, incidentally, we haven't invented yet. But when we do, I'll be totally against it. Well, why should we have to go to the doctors? In our day, when we got sick, we would just say a prayer to God and then promptly die. And can you imagine the outcry in 1701? Yeah, you've guessed it. In 1701, when Jethro Tull... A few more people getting it now. In 1701, when Jethro Tull invented the seeds drill. It's all very well for you to sit there laughing about it smugly. You're familiar with the seed drill. I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen hundreds of them. At the time, people they'd have been in a riot state about it. They'd have been saying, I think it's disgusting. And then to add insult to injury, only 8 years later, some bastard invented the piano. What's next? The clarinet? Yeah, it was the clarinet. Yes, the order was seed drill. Are you concentrating on this? The order was seed drill, piano, clarinet. If you learn nothing else tonight, learn that, memorise it. And in 1785, when Jean-Pierre Blanchard invented the first working parachute, as opposed, obviously, to a non-working parachute. But actually, when you think about it, a non-working parachute is literally anything that isn't a working parachute. For example, a table. That would be an example of a non-working parachute. A pair of reading glasses. A faulty parachute. That's another one. Another example. And a concrete breeze block hurtling onto the fast lane of the M6 with a 14-year-old head attached to it. And it's interesting, isn't it, that the people who are against change, the people who are afraid of change, they hate it in every context, don't they? Everywhere there's change, they're against it. They hate it in every situation, except one. Climate change. Yeah, they don't mind that, do they? Ooh, it's a disgrace, isn't it? You can't say filthy bender bum boy up the arse anymore. Oh, the Arctic tundra's melted. Not a problem. And it's ironic, isn't it, that the Christian right, they believe so strongly in fossil fuels, but they don't actually believe in fossils. And the word trigger. Nothing triggers these people more than the word trigger, does it? Oh, you've been triggered, have you? In our day, we just said we were a bit upset. Yeah, in our day, we didn't have mental health. We would just get angry. And either punch someone in the hip or struggle for years with unresolved emotions. Alienating one's family slowly over decades, whilst consistently putting down your adult daughter. Until everyone you loved loses interest in you and you die alone in a hostel in Ashton-under-Lyne. We wouldn't get triggered. Yeah, you're right, it's a silly word, but I'm not sure it's your principal problem, Derek.
Someone the other day on my Facebook shared a Nike ad, which made me really angry. I hate that shit because it was like a woke, you know those woke Nike ads? It was like a pregnant African woman, and it was like, Nike, the toughest athletes on the planet. She's like, that's right, everybody. Good job, Nike. It's about time people understood that African women are real and they get pregnant, okay? But I hate that shit because Nike is like the worst corporation. Like, they've just got accused of slave labour. Like, they just use wokeness to hide the evil shit they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just know they would have had a boardroom meeting where they're like, look, guys, we've been accused of slave labour again. We need to ramp up the wokeness. Suggestions, what do you got? Okay, what about this? An ad, it's Serena Williams playing tennis with 2 white women. And it's like, Nike, dream crazy. So I think we could be a little more woke than that. Okay, Usain Bolt holding hands with 4 Asian men as they run through a refugee camp. Nike, dreams take struggle. Good, Richie, but I don't think you understand. We need to distract from slavery here. We need way more wokeness than that. Okay, a lesbian Muslim playing soccer with a disabled Jew. Nike, dreams unite. Better, Richard. Now you're on it. I can see you're on it. More, though. I know you've got more. Okay, a non-binary Asian trans woman runs through a stadium of disabled Arabic men. When they cross the line, boom, close up on a midget. Brilliant, Richard. You've done it again. Brilliant. That's a little bit offensive, though. It's not midget, it's little people. Excuse me. We've been trying to get them into basketball for years. I wish they did good but had fucked ads. Wouldn't it be better if it was the other way around? Like, people actually did actions and then said the opposite? I would rather that, wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, their ads are fucked, but they're doing amazing things, paying their workers, crazy shit. But their ads are fucked. Like, Michael Jordan walks out, he's like, you'll never be me. Look at you fat fuck, sitting on the couch, you're drinking custard, you think you're gonna fucking put on my shoes and slam dunk? You're shit, you're fucking nothing. Nike, don't dream. One ad's just like, fuck off. Get fucked, cunt. Get fucked, cunt. Nike, get fucked, cunt. It's a good one.
I remember Strictly Come Dancing and the Great British Bake Off. They became programmes where the media got in on the old diversity bandwagon. You remember on the Great British Bake Off they had a Muslim lady baking a Victoria sponge cake, didn't they? They had the black lesbian boxer doing the Viennese waltz, remember? And I thought, that's not diversity. Getting black people to do white people's things, that's colonialism. To me, diversity would be to get white people to do black people's things. So instead of a programme like Who Do You Think You Are, you could have Where You From? No, Where You Really From? Where we could get a white person to stand there and justify their existence in this country by going through their entire fucking family tree. Immigrants in the Attic, that was one of my programme ideas. Stop and Search, where we see people like Nigel Farage being tasered outside Brixton Tube Station.
Well, one thing they have done quite well, right, nerds, is that they've started making podcasts. But you know, people said to me you should listen to podcasts. And podcasts to me are just really unhygienic former encouragement award recipients in pairs, delivering an unsolicited frame-by-frame analysis of a fucking movie made specifically for children. Every week, forever. And that's necessary. But people said to me, you could learn a lot from podcasts, mate. You should listen to them. I started listening to them, right, because I listen. And I started listening to the crime ones. And who doesn't love crime? What a boon that's been for all of us. Can you imagine a world without murders to solve? What an absolute bore. I, for one, wouldn't want to live there. But they said you can learn some stuff, mate. Listen to podcasts. So I started listening to the crime ones. And I learned one thing. And that is that the police, even more incompetent than I first thought. Unbelievable. And don't get me wrong, I quite like the fuzz, right? One time, a tree fell down across our street. They turned up, directed traffic around it, did a pretty good job. You know? Sometimes they got on horses and just plough through a throng of people to remind us to continue to behave ourselves. Who here hasn't walked out the front of a footy stadium and felt the squelch of a Clydesdale turd right up the side of their sandal? And thought, I feel safe now. Knowing that if things turn south, I might earn myself a taxpayer-funded kick in the face from a half-ton animal. So, one thing they have done very well too, I don't want to rip into the pigs, I quite like them. They've pretty much gotten rid of drink driving in about a generation and a half. It's been a lot of hard work and they've done a very good job of this. But there are still a few men out there living the dream. I know some, and every drink driving story I've ever heard, it always starts with, look, I shouldn't have done that. And it ends with, man, if only I'd done this one little thing differently, the bastards wouldn't have caught me. I should have just stuck to the back streets like I usually do. I pulled out on the main road. The bacon was set up right there, the pricks. What are they doing anyway? Why aren't they out there catching the real crooks? Instead of hassling a good bloke like me, just going about his business, committing a crime. And all of these blokes, they've got a theory on how to sober up in a hurry. Everyone's got one of these. They're all bullshit. None of them work. I've got to tell you. It's all like, oh, you know what you should do, mate? You should have a 5-minute nap, a 10-minute shower, bloody run around the car 4 times. Bloody drink 7 litres of water, get a punch in the face from your best mate in between each litre. Yeah. Do 12 push-ups. But it's bullshit. None of them work. In my experience, the only thing that will sober you up in a very big hurry is to just run over someone on your way home from the pub. Yeah. Oh. If you're not awake after that, you may never be. So, the other thing I quite like about the cops, right, is their complete lack of shame and embarrassment in asking for help to solve a crime. From the very same public who pay their fucking wages. And on a personal level, I don't mind this. I can't tell you how many times a squad car full of the filth had turned up at my work. I said, what is that, mate? Is that 4 pallets of bricks that you've got to carry up 10 flights of stairs? No problem. Get out, fellas. Let's muck in and help this guy out. And at the end of the day, I say, thanks, lads. That was really nice of you. In return, I'll just keep my ear to the ground around the neighbourhood and give you a tingle if something pops up. This is what happened to me in terms of the cops, right? I was embroiled in a street brawl, and it was a big one. It was one of those ones where later on, onlookers get referred to as witnesses. It was huge. The street got shut off, made the news, everything. It was a massive fight. There was heaps of fights breaking out, spot fights all over. The particular localised melee I was involved in ended up, there's like 2-on-2s, few 1-on-1 fights. The one I was in, it ended up being 1 versus 6. And I like to say I gave a good account of myself, but then there were 6 of us, so... A little tip from the top. If you're involved in a street fight and there's a man walking towards you and he does that spit through his teeth, that... He's a fucking good fighter. You don't learn to do that until you cracked a few skulls. It was also one of those fights where improvised weapons were being used, which is a disturbing trend that's only begun since the nanny state took all our guns. I saw a guy sliding a tin of spaghetti into a sock. That's what we've been reduced to in terms of street weaponry. It's embarrassing on a world scale. Anyway, the fight kicked off. It was a massive fight. And the boys in blue turned up. You know, 4 of them at first, heaps later on. But the first 4 who rolled up, they're all walking abreast along the footpath towards the fight. And 2 of them were chewing gum, and one of them had a neck tat. They look like a modern-day slips cordon that I'm supposed to respect. And the 4th one, he was fat. And, you know, I don't care. Follow your dreams. It's nothing to do. It's fine. I'm all for equal employment opportunities. I'm not a fascist. In fact, I'm a campaigner. I'm not going to rest until everyone with a lisp has a job on the radio. And all firemen are wheelchair bound. Or firewomen, don't panic. Women can be disabled now too if they want. But this was like a fat, like not a bit overweight. He's a proper fat cop, but that's, whatever. But this is something I'll be teaching my kids, right? When you're running away from the cops, right, normal one, skinny one, just straight line, fast as you can. Get ready to do a little sidestep. Some of them can be shifty when they go in for the tackle. When there's a fat cop around, though, they're not even going to give chase. They're going straight to plan B, sitting on the hip there, just pointing in the general direction of noise and kablam. See what happens, sort that out with some paperwork later on. So when there's a fat cop around, kids, just be prepared to do some zigzag running. You're going to look like a silly Billy. But it's better to be a silly Billy and alive than one of those corpses about whom people say there lies a man who never compromised his dignity around obese law enforcement. So this fight, right, it was just winding down. It was just coming to the end of it. And I was getting shoveled in the back of a paddy wagon by some of these goons. And one of them, right, he's had his elbow on the back of my neck. He was about half my age. He's put me in the van. He said, mate, we're going to take you down the station. We're going to charge you with common assault. You should take a long, hard look at yourself. So should I, young fella? Maybe you should take a long, hard look at yourself. Because I've just bitten a man's nose off. And then I punched him out of his shoes. And you've got the audacity to call that common. So they're all right at this sort of stuff, right? Your entry-level policing. But when it comes, from listening to podcasts, when it comes to solving a murder, the pigs are fucking useless. They cannot do the job. There must be a lot of retired policemen up there in Queensland, the retirement location of choice for all inept policemen. Just sitting there on the Sunshine Coast, just dragging the drinks trolley over to their cane lounger, thinking, oh shit, I hope I die before all the unturned stones of my shit career get catalogued for the whole world to see in a podcast. And all that sunshine and beer, that does nothing for a man's memory. The rapid onset of dementia is staggering when a tenacious podcaster knocks on the door. The number one leading cause of dementia in old men is, of course, being accused of some pervert shit from 40 years ago. They can't remember a fucking thing once that got us. And while I'm down here too, I don't want to rip into dementia. I'm not sinking the slipper in there, that's fine. Like, it's one of those things, dementia, that we'll all have to deal with at one stage of our lives. Someone we know will have it, or we will, whatever. But what no one's saying about dementia is how much of a handy evolutionary tool it is just to prevent old men from going out and settling all their long-standing vendettas. And can you imagine a world where all the men remembered every single shit thing that had been done to them throughout the course of their lives? It'd be absolute carnage when they reach a point where nothing else matters. There'd be so much, hey, Dale, just put a bag of lime and a shovel in the boot. Just off to knock off all 3 of our sons-in-law. I hate their guts. None of them are good enough for our girls. And while I'm at it, I'm going to rub out that bloke who put 13 items through on the 12 and under aisle 25 years ago. I still remember that. Paid with a cheque. Really pissed me off. Where are the car keys? What was I talking about? I better just go and watch some telly. Dementia saves a lot of lives. Take it easy on it. So when I'm listening to podcasts, right, okay, it gets to a point where the crime ones, they'll say, oh, the family, they were desperate after a year. They didn't know what else to do, so they turned to a psychic for help. And I listen to that and think, what? What were you thinking, man? You've waited a year for that. What a kick in the teeth that is to the science of clairvoyance. Everybody knows the moment somebody goes missing, you look at the horoscopes from that day and work backwards from there. It's almost as if these husbands and stepsons don't want the crime solved in the first place. But that's how crimes are getting solved now. It's pretty much by podcasters more than the police. Someone I know got murdered, right? Not by me. And I didn't even call the police. I just found my nearest dork and just yanked him out from underneath his Darth Vader doona, which are incidentally now available in King Single for your larger single man. I just bought him a new computer and a microphone, told him to stop hitting himself and start a podcast and fucking sort it out. And that's how they... Look, the filth, they're just sitting down at the station listening to podcasts hoping a clue pops up. We're supposed to respect them.
And you can see the difference between Americans and British confidence in the way that we market our towns. So, like, Americans will have a huge plaque, huge sign outside their town saying, "Welcome to historic Tote, population 704. Visit our museum, visit our cultural center, take in all the wild stories that make up this sweet town that was formed in Ye Olde, 1976. Whereas in Britain, we've got like a small sign that says, founded by William the Conqueror, but we've got 12 vape shops.
Been a rough couple of years for the Armenians worldwide. There was some war crimes committed against us. There was a blockade or two. And then you try to tune into the news, it doesn't get, no matter what happens to Armenians, it doesn't get on the news. You tune into CNN and they're like, the Armenians, we've heard the word, we don't know what they are. Armenians are out there, I guess. If you want to find out more, we suggest you go to tune into the BBC. They'll know. Turn on the BBC, they're not much better. They're like, the Armenians. What really are the Armenians? Armenia, a faraway land, beyond the boundaries of human empathy. Do they truly deserve human rights? To answer this question, we'll be joined this hour by two experts. One of them, a sitting cabinet member in the government of Turkey, and the other, an executive at a petroleum corporation.
I reread the Bible last year. And a lot of stuff gets said about the Bible. Let me tell you something I don't think gets said enough. It is a riveting read. It is riveting. The language is poetic, the characters are flawed and intertwined, the imagery, the ideas. Christianity is not a religion. It is a book club that got out of hand. Aren't they all in a way? Like, it's the great mystery of humanity, don't you think, the Bible? Is it real? Is it made up? Both answers are amazing. Both. Either it all happened and that's one thing, or it was made up. And I hope to God the Bible was made up. Because if the Bible was made up, it is without any shadow of a doubt the greatest work of art that humans have created. Without any shadow of a doubt. 2,000 years old, we got it right. First time. No other creative endeavour has inspired that much love, that much devotion, that much anger. No one has ever said, Back to the Future is so good, I will murder anyone who disagrees with me about it. No one straps a bomb to their stomach and goes, this is in the name of Chandler Bing! You know? Like, we have priests and nuns because of the Bible. That is how good this book is. I think comedy is art. I don't think comedy will ever attain that level of art. Ever, ever. Hey, was Sean McLoughlin funny last night? Funny? I'll never have sex again. I'm going to Africa tomorrow to talk to them about Sean McLoughlin. I'm bringing him to Uganda. No, the Bible gets a kick in the Bible. It really does. But it's a good book. It is a good book, and that's why there's so many different versions of it, so people can share those stories with their communities. And everybody has their own Bible. Be you Coptic, Ethiopian, lad. You know, there's Bibles really. And I do find it not frustrating. It's odd how so many people I know, smart people. Their opinions of the Bible have been dictated by the people who understand it the least. Because you get these groups, you get them in America, you get them over here, and they've read the Bible. They've read all 1,000 pages of the Bible. They know what God was trying to say. They could sum it up in 3 words. And they put those 3 words on their placards. And they stand outside the school and it just says, God hates fags. Fascinating, these people. Fascinating. I just want to know what they think other books are about. Like, if they hated the Harry Potter series, what would be on those placards? You know, broomsticks are expensive. There's homophobia in the Bible. Of course there is. I'm not going to say there isn't, but the book is 2,000 years old. It's still less homophobic than the average Adam Sandler film. It's a book about decency, I think, at its core. Forgiveness. Turn the other cheek. Be charitable. Find common ground with your fellow man. It's not bad. These aren't bad ideas. You know, you want to sum up the Bible in 3 words, you choose something positive. Choose something uplifting. Don't choose 3 words that are heinous. Choose something... how about don't be evil? How about that? Put that on your placards. That's right. That's the second reason why my faith has come back. Because the argument against God was always the same, and it always made sense. Always. It was always, you're an idiot if you believe in God. You're a fool, sir, if you believe in God. You really think there's some all-powerful being who's everywhere, and they know where you are, and they can always hear you, and they know your darkest desires. That's just Google I described. Did I just describe Google? Google is God. Google is God. We killed God, and then we replaced it with something far more powerful and far less accountable, I might add. Genuinely, Google and the Catholic Church are so similar. You'd be surprised. They're both very secretive. They try and do good. They fall on their own weight. They don't pay a penny in tax. But, But at its core, the Catholic Church wants people to be good. Fundamentally good. What does Google want? What does it want? It wants to sell us shit. That's all it wants to do. But it's God. Google is God. It's technology, religion, future and the past. Symmetry. And I'm not, who am I saying? I'm not better than... Am I better than anyone? I'm still on Twitter, I'm still on Facebook, I'm on all that stuff. If you want to contact me directly, by the way, I'm on the Daniel Bedingfield Shot 2pack at hotmail.com. What's he got to get through? Maybe there is still salvation in this world. We killed the gods, but maybe the new ones will bring us something good. Like, you think about our old friend Mark Zuckerberg. You think about him. Because we're going to keep hitting this guy. We are going to keep hitting him and hitting him and hitting him. And one day he might just snap. He might just give us what we want. He might walk out onto his front lawn and go, you hate me? Fine. You gave me all your data? You fucking gave it to me, remember? Well, you don't want me to have it anymore? Okay, I'll give it back. And he'll go to a massive hard drive he has in his house, and he'll press a button, and he'll release everything. Everything he's got on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on Instagram. He'll go, here you go, you want it back? Here's all your data. Here's all your secrets. Here's every late night WhatsApp message you've ever sent. Here's every drunken Facebook message you've ever sent. Here's what everyone at work really calls you. Here's what all your family think of you. Here's all your secrets. You wanted it? Also, here's your genitals. Here's every picture I've got. Here's your dad's dick. Here's your old math teacher's vagina. You want it? Here it is. And he'll release everything. Everything released. A moment of total absolution. And we won't even know where to begin with the amount of information we receive about each other. How can we process that? What? Mary isn't vegan and hates Muslims? What? Everyone knows I shat my pants at the fax machine. That lanky comedian wasn't Lionel Messi. Everyone will know it. Everyone. And we'll just run out into the town square and we'll just look at each other. Everyone will know each other's secrets. Everyone will know each other's business. And for the first time in history, no one will have the high ground. No one. And people will try and claim it. They always do. Like, first a politician will stand up and say, well, what I think we should do is... And everyone will go, why should we listen to you? We all know you shagged that duck. And then an academic will stand up and will say, why should we listen to you? We all know your favourite film is Boss Baby. And then a handsome man will stand up and we'll go, why should we listen to you? We all know you're not really the bass player from Travis. And what do we do in that moment? What do we do? Do we relearn those old ideas? Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone deserves another chance. Or do we do the one thing we're so fucking good at? Do we find someone to blame? Zuckerberg. We find Mark Zuckerberg. We find out where he lives. God shows us through his maps. And we go to his house and we drag him outside and we make him take that massive hard drive with him. It caused us so many problems, so we make him carry it on his back through the city. And the crowd roars as we rip off his clothes and someone fashions him a hoodie of thorns.
But we don't want the algorithm to know that it's figured us out, you know? Like, there are dudes in this room who are getting hair loss commercials on their phone and they think they're not losing their hair. It knows. Your phone knows. You know how I know that? Because it's got 1,000 photos of your fucking head in chronological order. Just watching this guy get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I get it, I'm the same. I don't like to think technology's figured me out. I'm on TikTok, which is embarrassing to admit because I'm in my 30s, but you got to corner that Chinese comedy market somehow, right? You got to get in there. And this is what TikTok shows me, right? This is what I see on my TikTok feed. All I see, and by the way, what's important to know, all I follow, stand-up comedy, fitness gurus, shut up, and sports highlights. That is all I follow on TikTok. This is what TikTok shows me. Very attractive women dancing. How does it know? Because I'm not upset. How does it know? I've never clicked like, I've never commented, I've never followed, I've lingered. But that's it, all I see, video after video, very attractive women. Even I'll try to throw it off the scent, actively. I'll go around, the other week I just went on, typed in book club, just looked at video after video, liking, commenting, seems like a great read. Went back the next day, now it's just the same chick, but with war on this tit and peace on this one. I was like, how do they know? How have they figured us out? I'm just a heterosexual man who would think we like tits. And look, sometimes I'll give in. I'll jerk off to these videos in 60-second increments. And when I finish jerking off, I'll swipe up and it's an ad for Uber Eats. And I'm like, fucking TikTok, spot on again. With all this jerking off, I've had no time to cook. And
before I had a kid, the majority of my day was spent unsubscribing to emails. That was the big day. That's a lot of work, unsubscribing to an email. You click it, it goes, are you sure you want to unsubscribe? And you're like, yes. Well, do you want to manage your preferences? I guess so. Well, you got to log in. Well, I forgot my password. Well, you got to reset your password. All right, we've sent you an email. That's the opposite of what I wanted to happen. You open the email, they're like, here's a verification code. I'm like, what do I do with that? They're like, take it outside. What? Take it outside. There's a man in a robe with a beard. Tell him the verification code and he will give you the sword of destiny. Take the sword of destiny to the tallest mountain and slay the troll. And the blood of the troll will seep down the hilt. Stand on the summit and scream your verification code into the air. And an angel will descend from a cloud. His name is Alessandro. He will wrap his wings around you and he will hold you close and kiss you passionately and say, are you sure you want to unsubscribe? You'll be like, Alessandro, I don't know how you got my email in the first place. I used to be the guy who opened every email. You know, there's two kinds of people. People with a clean inbox and people with that little red square with 7,000 unread emails. I used to be the first guy because I'd open every email. I'd enjoy every email because every email had a bit of personality. Like if you got a free trial for a streaming service, I like that email because it's a very seductive email. They write it to be sexy, don't they? They're like, hey, big guy, do you want a free trial for a streaming service? I'm like, yeah, I'd love a free trial. What's your credit card? I thought you said it was free. I just want to look at it. Send me a photo. Seductive email. I really like a security alert email Those are so funny, aren't they? They're so neurotic. You know when you log into an account from a different browser and this security alert email screams into your inbox in such a panic like, oh my God! What's wrong? Someone just logged into your account! Oh my God, from where? From your house! I'm in my house. Are they still there? No, it's just me. They used your laptop. I'm on my laptop. And your password! I'm pretty sure it's me. Are you sure? I'm sure. Here are 9 photos. Tell me which ones are traffic lights.
I only like restaurants that proudly advertise themselves as being farm to table. Oh, yeah. Which is a very silly thing for a restaurant to say. Because that's where they grow food. And that's what you eat it off of at every restaurant. Arby's is a farm-to-table restaurant. It's a gross farm, and the table is bolted to the wall, but it's farm-to-table all the same. When I say farm-to-table, I mean something very specific, okay? I mean a farm that is owned by a nice lesbian couple who left finance and bought a goat. And when I say table, I mean like a door that used to be on a very old church that they've taken down and kind of fashioned into a banquet-style seating arrangement where you sit around it with 6 other couples who you don't know. You didn't come with them. And you all talk about the same 3 A24 movies all night. Yeah. When I go to a restaurant, I want the drinks and the light bulbs to be in mason jars. Do you understand me? I like restaurants that have an ampersand in the middle of their name. They cannot spell out the word and. It has to be a cutesy little ampersand, right? It has to be like Turkey and the Wolf. Or the Girl in the Coat. I would eat at Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Every time I go to a restaurant I like, the server comes over and they say the exact same thing. They say, have you dined with us before? Because we do things a little bit different. Never once has it been different. Never once has the server been, have you dined with us before? Because we do things a little bit different. Now take your shirt off and get in the kitchen. You're making me dinner. Never. I've never ordered the charcuterie board and it comes out and so does Marina Abramovich. You know, she like sits across from you. It makes hard emotional eye contact the entire time you're eating. I got married 2 years ago. But we didn't go on our honeymoon until last year. Yeah. We went to Italy. Yeah. Boy, they are Italian over there. You think you're prepared for it, because, like, it's Italy, and then you're sitting at a cafe in Rome, and the server comes over, and he's like, okay, so first of all, we know do spaghetti. And you're sitting there like, oh my God. The racist didn't go far enough this time. We were in Naples. We went to Naples, and in Naples, I saw 3 people riding one Vespa. 2 of them were smoking unfiltered cigarettes, and the third was holding an open bottle of red wine. It was a toddler. It was a toddler holding the wine. In Naples, they use toddlers as cup holders for wine. We went to the Vatican on our trip, which, as a Jew, does feel like a secret mission. I felt like if I made it all the way through without getting detected, I should get to kiss the Pope. And it's just like, mwah, you didn't find me. He'd probably be cool with it, right? This Pope, isn't it still like the cool Pope right now? Isn't it still? Yeah, the Pope was just like that's his energy. He's like, hey, call me Rick. How are ya? Yeah, like, you know, he doesn't do the big hat. He does a little Catholic yarmulke. That's his energy, right? Kirkland signature robes. That's the Pope. You know who I feel bad for is the next Pope. Because he didn't sign up for all this humble stuff. Right? If he ever wants to go back to full Pope hat strength, he's going to have to do it gradually. Where people are going to talk. He's going to have to, every week, wear a slightly bigger hat. He's going to be in meetings at the Vatican like, okay, so first order of business is, and one of the cardinals is going to be like, Your Holiness, is that a bigger hat? No. It's a different hat. It was scary, Italy. A little bit. Because as you're going around the country, you're learning a little bit about its history. And I was reminded that not too long ago, Italy used to be a fascist country. In the 1930s and the 1940s, under Benito Mussolini, they were fascist. And that was crazy to me because this is also the country that invented the ravioli. And it's just hard to hold those two ideas in your head at the same time. Although, I guess if you lived in a country where one person invented something as impactful as the ravioli, you might be more willing to believe that a man could be God. And then I thought about it some more, and I realized something startling. Many of the countries that have given us the finest dumplings on the planet have, at one time or another, succumbed to fascism. Think about it. Russia, dumplings, fascism. Poland, dumplings, fascism. China, in my opinion, the finest dumplings on the planet, but also, occasionally, unfortunately, fascism. So I guess the question that we need to ask ourselves as Americans is, do Hot Pockets count?
Oh man, I love to smoke joints, but I've had to quit it for the sake of my job because my memory was getting so bad I had to Google the phrase double bike because I no longer knew the word for tandem. I've been smoking heavily for like a year and I was like, all that stuff about memories is just government conspiracy theories. And then I went to say the name of I've been going out with the same person for 8 years, so I know his name, right? His name's Connor. I went to say his name and I thought, is this Connor even called Connor? Who knows? Just act confident. See, when I was growing up, whenever I saw Scottish comedy on telly, it seemed to rely on slagging off Scotland, and it was a kind of shtick that was like, oh, aren't we all just fat, illiterate bastards eating chips out of bin? That's what it was, right? I don't like slagging off Scotland. I'm not comfortable with it, apart from one crucial thing, and that is the world of Scottish amateur pornography, which I made the terrible mistake of watching. This is a real category of porn. I'm not making it up for the show. Don't watch it. But a lot of you are drinking, you easy. He's cheersing, he's seen it. Scottish porn's the most depressing porn I've ever seen. comes a close second to Russian porn, and at least in that they're skinny, but it's in that bleak, we did this for a piece of bread kind of way. I've watched literally every Scottish porn on the internet for the purposes of this show. Some of the clips, you're like, how can I even tell these people are Scottish? There's not much dialogue. Let me tell you, I knew. With a depressing inevitability, I knew my own people. Because it was just pale, hairy white bellies smashing against each other in close up like water balloons filled with yoghurt. Every few seconds, a wee voice off camera would go, oh, aye. Or memorably, tug on my pubes, Rona! I clicked on this Pornhub clip. It said, Scottish girl fucked in London. When I put it on, literally just footage of me paying £1,000 a month to live in a basement. And I watch, like, amateur stuff rather than slickly shot professional stuff because it's more ethical. That's what a hipster am. It's more ethical. What they lack in muscle tone or symmetrical facial features, they make up for with a large degree of enthusiasm. You know what I mean. I can see who watches it, yeah. I've had to stop watching it and go back to the professional stuff. I'll tell you why. Firstly, can't control the soundtracks in people's homemade sex tapes. I had to turn off someone's amateur porno because they were playing the song Everybody's Changing by Keen in the background. Oh, which will come first, climax or me killing myself? Here's another thing. I don't judge any of you if you want to make a sex tape, but for the love of God, would you lock up the pets beforehand? You know the number of times I've just sadly closed my laptop during a porno? Because there's been a couple pumping away in the foreground, really happy, really oblivious to just the sight of their proud cat sauntering in the background. Meow! This is my time to shine! I put one on the other day. It had a couple were just dry humping American college amateurs, and in the background there was just a sad little Yorkshire Terrier. Dogs are pure innocence and goodness, just looking at them like, please take me a walk. I watch lesbian porn, mostly because straight porn is largely made for straight men, so it'll have these blowjob scenes that go on for 10 to 15 to 20 minutes. Well, why don't I just watch someone file a tax return?
People who have very vibrant sex lives have a safe word to stop play. I mean, I don't know why I'm using a sporting analogy. I don't know what goes on there. But they do. I mean, I would have thought a good word to use would be no. Or hey, get out of it. That kind of thing. Surely that would do the job. But they have like all these banana. I mean, banana's probably the worst one you could use, I would say. It's the last thing you want bringing into the bedroom. I just think, like, I do actually have a safe word in my sexual life. I don't do anything kinky. I just find it quite time-consuming. You know, he's there humping away. And I'm thinking, I've got a full Kindle on the bedside table there. So I just whisper the safe word. I just whisper, Captain Tom. Hey, don't stop him. Speeds him up. Yeah? Hey, listen, don't sit there feeling sad because I've mentioned Captain Tom. This is what Captain Tom would have wanted. This is what he wanted. He wanted this, everyone out enjoying themselves. He wanted this and not a spa facility in his horrible daughter's garden. God bless you, Captain Tom. He's up there now, fucking the Queen. And he is. He is, whether you like it or not. That's what's happening. Don't be upset by that. But the Queen, listen, it's till death do us part. She's not up there with Prince Philip. Till death do us part. That's it, you know. It's like when an elderly couple, you know, one of them passes away, the other one passes away. They're reunited now in heaven. No, they're not. They can do what they want up there. It's till death do us part. I hope my grandma is up there sucking off Elvis.
And speaking of unwanted pregnancies, I've learned so much from my daughter. It just like... And one thing I learned that they don't really tell you about, but you have to like constantly censor yourself, edit your responses to the kids, like because kids will often say some really funny shit, just some gems, right? But you can't laugh because they didn't intend for it to be funny, so it's upsetting to them. It seems dismissive, and they're trying to be sincere, and so you can't laugh. It's you know, they take it poorly, and a good example of this, like this is 100% true. So when my daughter was about 4.5, my wife was out of town, and we were having breakfast. And there was a little lull in the conversation, and I'm over, you know, cleaning up some dishes and stuff. And then after about a minute, she says to me, and apropos of nothing, we had not been talking about anything like this at all. So she just comes out with this. She goes, "Daddy, I'm sad you're going to die soon." And, you know, my immediate reaction was like, oh my God. She's a witch. And I went over and I sat down next to her, and I very quickly bound her hands and legs, threw in her sack, drove to a river, and dumped her off the bridge. But here's the thing, I love that kid so much, and I'm almost embarrassed to say that I'm surprised at how much I love her, not because of her, but I just didn't think I was capable of that depth of love for another person or thing, you know? I mean, I used to think I had kind of a mild form of autism when it came to love, because I never had that connection that, you know, you see in the movies and the poems and the books and the you know, like, you know, The Notebook. I've never felt like that, you know, like Wuthering Heights. You know, I haven't read it, but I assume there's some love shit in there. And I've just never felt that for anything, any person. You know, and I have a wonderful dog, you know, and but I would take a bullet for that kid. Instinctively, I would take a bullet for her. I would not take a bullet for my wife. No. No. Absolutely not. No. Fuck that. No. Wait. Honey, it's your bullet, he said. He said I'll be downstairs playing video games. No, but I would take a bullet for my dog. Now, here's the thing. I love that kid so much. I really do. But at the same time, and I'm 100% sincere when I say this, I also resent her. I really do. Because she's rich. She's a fucking rich kid. And I know it's not right. I know it's a leftover hangover prejudice I had since I was a kid. I grew up really poor, and I was always suspicious of rich people. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. And I just didn't like rich people. I still don't, you know? And I'm rich, you know? I mean, I'm not rich. I pay my taxes, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And when that kid is whining about dumb shit, I'm like, oh, stop it. You're fucking rich. Stop, you know, you have central air. Do you understand? Are you hot? Push that button, you'll cool down. Are you cold? Push that button, you heat up. You have a teepee in your playroom that's not your bedroom. Can you conceive of how fucking rich you're sitting there eating an organic banana that your mother made me go to 3 fucking places in the rain to get you an organic banana. Like that fucking matters. It's the biggest scam in the world. It's bullshit. Anybody can throw an organic sticker on anything. Nobody does their due diligence. It's all. Also, are you eating the peel? All right, then who gives a shit? Why do I have to pay a 500% markup for a fucking organic banana. You're not gonna eat. Okay, so I'm sorry. Let me get this straight. So, our water is contaminated, our air is polluted, our homes are slowly trying to kill us. But yeah, an organic banana, that'll set everything straight. Good. Hey, you know what? I didn't have anything organic until I was 40, and that was by accident, and I'm fine. All right. So seriously, quit your whining, young lady. Seriously, listen to me. Listen to me. Until you drive your 1982 Chevy Malibu with a broken side mirror an hour and a half through a snowstorm in a Western Mass so you can do a set for a bunch of disinterested, drunk, anti-Semitic, racist Christian patriots for $30 and a cold egg roll, then you can complain to me about how your purse doesn't have as many sparkles as Madeline's, all right? Also, that purse, that was made by prison labor. That's right, an innocent man was framed by a bunch of dirty cops. They planted drugs on him so they could boost their gotchas, right? They knowingly, because he was black and indigent, they were just like, oh, this'll work, and they planted drugs on him. Then, when the rest of the precinct found out about it, you know what they did? They all covered up for him. The whole thing is corrupt. From top to bottom, they're all corrupt pieces of shit. And then those cops perjured themselves on the witness stand and in cahoots with a crooked prosecutor and a crooked judge knowingly sent an innocent man to prison, ruining generations of lives. He made your purse. Another thing that's changed since I had a kid is news affects me more. It affects me differently. It affects me in deeper ways that I can't shake, that are depressing. And like before I had a kid, get up in the morning, cup of tea, turn on the computer, and there's a Yahoo News front page, and be like, top story, a woman in Florida murdered her 3-year-old daughter. And, before I had a kid, I'd be like, fuck, man, that's messed up. How'd the Braves do? Now that I have a kid, I see those stories and I cannot shake them. And they really are depressing and disturbing. And, next morning, a man in Florida murdered his 6-year-old son. Jesus, fuck. God damn. Next morning, a woman in Florida murdered her 4-year-old daughter and son. Jesus. Next morning, a man in Florida murdered all his nieces under the age of 8. Next morning, a couple in Florida murdered their twins. And I see this, you murdered a 3-year-old? What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't have to murder a 3-year-old. They're 3. There's a million ways they can die. Just leave them at the top of the stairs and go do laundry. What are you thinking? You don't have to scream and yell when they're running into the media. Just like, Cody, stop. You're not thinking, right? Hey, kiddo. Hey, here's 5 inches of water. I'm gonna go make some fish sticks. Oh, no. I'm free. What the fuck? You're gonna go to jail for the rest of your life. It's stupid. It's depressing. It's really disturbing and depressing. And also, you live in Florida. Avail yourselves of the services there. Just be patient. There's like a 32.6% chance they'll be shot to death by the time they're in 8th grade. Come on now. Is your kid black or brown? The cops will murder him for you. Man, I think it is really messed up that they're going to have to change the end of the Flintstones theme song just because of Florida. You get it? How you guys doing up there? You guys get it? How about y'all? Do y'all get it up there? Back of the house? You guys? All right, that's enough time. Man, what is going on in Florida? Like, they are just so proudly ignorant. They love it. They love they're oh my gosh, it's amazing. This is true. This is only a couple weeks old. All right, this is for real. I'm going to read this to you. Don't have it memorized. All right. If you want to see the outcome of Ron DeSantis' Stop Woke Act, look no further than changes made to a first-grade social studies text about Rosa Parks. All right, so here's what the old version was that kids were learning about Rosa Parks. The law said African Americans had to give up their seats on the bus if a white person wanted to sit down. Well, that's pretty much what it was. But apparently that was causing the youth of Florida to just, I don't know, just become heroin addicts. It's tough. It's tough news to process. So they had to change it. Stop woke. So they changed it. So they changed it to, she was told to move to a different seat because of the color of her skin. All right, it's pretty much, well, I mean, it's less specific, but that's not incorrect. And but apparently too much. Again, the kids were committing mass suicide, just jumping into trains, and it was just awful when they were told that. So they changed it further. What I'm going to read to you is what they are currently teaching kids in Florida about Rosa Parks. She was told to move to a different seat. She did not. She did what she believed was right. Yeah. That's, I don't know if you noticed, they leave a little wiggle room in there. She did what she believed was right. We're not saying it's right, because, you know, I mean, she should have just moved and listened, you know, obeyed her superiors, and she didn't. Sounds like somebody was getting a little too big for their britches, and she wouldn't move. And I mean, she did what she believed was right, and now we got to deal with all these vape stores. The Rosa Parks story. Martin Luther King Jr. told us all about a dream he had. But everyone knows it's boring when people tell you their dreams. He was rude and insolent. Nevertheless, a kindly white gentleman named James Earl Ray was so moved by his dream that he decided to gift Martin Luther King with a present. He looked around his house. What is there? What could I possibly give him? Then he said, you know what? I'll give him these free bullets. But I live so far away, how can I get them to him quickly? In Germany in 1932, a confused but well-meaning young man tried to come up with a solution to a problem everyone had. He tried everything, but nothing worked. when he was forced to use his final solution. And although there were very fine people on both sides, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
I parked my car. I don't know if this is a good indication of what people are like in Preston, but I parked my car outside of the venue, and as I walked into the venue, a man offered me anal sex. So I was late. I was going to say I'll tell you a bit about me, but I think I just have. It's lovely to be here, though. It's a nice temperature in here, isn't it? We'll get warmer as we go on, obviously, the lights and whatnot. I respond in quite a peculiar way to the heat, I think, mostly sort of here. I realised I aimed that just at you guys in the front there, didn't I? Sorry about that. Hey, upstairs can have a go. There you go. Down there gets what I call claggy. Anybody else got a good word for that? Anybody else? Moist. Who said moist? Moist is a good word. What was that one? Sticky. Oh, there was a lady the other day said, what you've got there is LDF. I said, what does LDF stand for? She said, long day Fanny. When I said claggy in Preston, a man said, oh no, we call that ready. But what I do when it gets moist and sticky, I just do a plie. I'm not a massive ballet dancer, but if I was a ballet dancer, I would clearly be a massive one. I just do that. You only get a couple of seconds relief because it mostly just slicks back together. I did a show in Edinburgh and a lady at the back of the room shouted out, you need to use some talc. And I thought, surely that just forms a paste.
But no, because I've started catching the train again. Now, there's this one guy, he's on every train. I don't want to say exactly what this dude looks like, but I describe his appearance as crime adjacent. Everybody got him? You've seen him often chewing, never gum. So this guy is on every train, right? He's on every train, does the same move on every train. When the train gets to a platform, the doors will open, the crime adjacent guy leans out the doors of the train, looking very intently up and down the platform. I don't know what he's looking for. I've never seen him find it. And then when the doors close, he's like, oh, it's the train. And gets back on the train, right? That's what happens for the crime adjacent guy. Every single platform I've ever seen him at. And I always thought it's because he was looking for a ticket inspector, which I thought was a shit strategy. Because if I was a ticket inspector and I saw a crime adjacent person, that's probably where I'd start inspecting. And I don't even have formal ticket inspector training, which I can only assume is extensive. So that's what I always thought. And then I got COVID last Christmas, like everybody, and I was in one of those in-person PCR testing queues, and there was a crime-adjacent person in front of me in the queue. And he did the exact same move in the COVID queue. We're in the COVID queue, the queue would take a few steps forward, the queue would stop, the crime-adjacent guy steps out of the queue, looks up and down the queue, gets back in the queue. And I was like, dude, we don't need a ticket for this. It's like, this isn't American healthcare, it's included, right? Like, it's fine. And that's when I realised that guy's not looking for a ticket inspector. What he's doing is looking for his biological father. That's why he writes his name on the train. Just in case his dad comes looking for him. On the Campbelltown line, right?
Together, guys, we're in very divided times, but food, I feel like, is the answer. You know, think about the first wave of immigrants. The Italians, they copped a lot of racial hate, but, you know, they bought pizza, pasta, people sort of accepted them, yeah. Chinese people, sweet and sour pork, Indian people, buttered chicken. Like, all I'm trying to say is stop hating and just wait and see what food transgender people make, because No, they haven't had their chance yet to make the food. You know, I'm like, that's the only way I've seen it work in this country. I wish it wasn't like that. Like, my granddad came back from World War II, a lot of anti-Japanese hate, you know, but I took him to sushi. It was like, you know what, these guys are all right. I took him to one of those sushi you know, the trains. He was like, we used to have to derail these. Like he was going a bit then. Stop, Granddad, they're trying to resupply. It's not, it's teriyaki. Like it was a, stop. But you know, I work like in a very progressive space doing stand-up, but I used to work as a labourer on a construction site. Yeah, not as progressive. The amount of like homophobic jokes and sexism and shit that goes into like building a building, like fucking, we shouldn't be in here, you know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you, we need to cancel buildings because like some of the shit that was said, can you imagine some of the shit that was being said when this was being put up? Can't you lift that, Trevor, you little bitch? Where's your fucking dress? And you're comfortable sitting in this, like, in this environment of hate? Like, my foreman used to walk in and go, morning, ladies, and he'd flick your balls like that. And they built the Gallery of Modern Art. That's a space I worked on, like helping with the flooring of the Gallery of Modern Art. And I've been back since on that same floor during a cabaret festival. And there was all these naked men in body paint standing there with the light shining on them, posing in this performance art piece. But in that same spot, Trevor called me a gay cunt for drinking a Sprite Zero, like in the same... And yeah, I got bullied, okay? I'm one of those guys. I got bullied, I'm one of those guys, you know, I went to the boss. Yeah. I was like, Dad. I said, they're bullying me, Daddy. Fire these motherfuckers. And he did, and I got promoted. It's,
And when I grew up in Scarborough, I was always desperate to leave it. And I wanted to move on to bigger and better things. And then as soon as I left, I realised what an incredible town it is. And I was proud of it. And I always wanted to do Scarborough proud. I always thought if I ever make it in this town, when people think Scarborough, they'll think funny, they'll think Paddy Young. It sounds right. Sounds like the way things were going for me until New Year's Eve last year, just as the fireworks were about to go off. Does anyone remember what happened? A walrus, yeah. It was the first time a walrus had ever been seen on the Yorkshire coast. It was incredible. So we all got a bit closer to the walrus, then the walrus got a bit closer to us, then we got a little bit closer, and then the walrus started masturbating. Did you know that walruses masturbated? I didn't, no. No. Little bit defensive, if you ask me. No. Shutting all the tabs in his pocket. Oh, my fucking God. Shut down the subreddit, boys. He's got us. Well, I didn't know that they masturbated either. I didn't know they masturbated, but they're not normally in Scarborough either, so I don't know if this guy's just a bit of a Jack the Lad, turns up, wanks where he wants, goes home. Incredible. They cancelled the fireworks, he brought his own, my God! The line from the council was, they stopped the fireworks because they didn't want to cause the walrus any more stress. Now, I'm not an expert on walruses or stress. He looked fairly relaxed to me, He looked like he was about to have the nap of his life. The whole town enjoyed it. It was great. The elderly, the kids, we all learned something. And... It's a great evening. But in the wake of it, this walrus has become a bit of a viral sensation. People have enjoyed the video across the world. If you Google Scarborough funny, it's not Paddy Young. It's that fat, juicy cock. Lolloping about on our shore. It's so unfair. Like, look, I was a teenage boy in Scarborough. Like, do you realise how many wanks I must have had up there? Millions, probably. Never even made it in the Yorkshire Press. He's on the front page of the Guardian. I was keeping that water salty way before he crawled out of it.
So you can't just bash nerds anymore, can you? And it's fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a thug. I don't want to. But they've gone from being bashed to being revered in a very short time space. And I just think nerds would do well to remember what the inside of an S-Bend tastes like and adjust their adult behaviour accordingly. And I don't want to come out too hard on nerds either. I don't mind nerds. They're fine. There might be one here. I don't know. Some of them look like us now. But I think it's an equation as old as time itself, though. If you take a nerd and you empower them, you're going to end up with a pervert. But now, thanks to the information superhighway, nerds can just meet other people online and then procreate as a result of that. Nerds, they used to have to build, solve or invent something and use the requisite cash to purchase the love of a woman. Now they just use trickery like the rest of you and meet people online, leaving their spare time free to reenact fictitious battles between witches and dragons and whatever else it is that's now acceptable for modern men to be doing.
Any other breadwinners in? Any breadwinners? No? No one? Just a bunch of you, bunch of bread losers. Great. But everything's now, people talk about the gig economy. It's so weird. My job is, I'm so free, right? Comedy, stand-up comedy is the ultimate 0 hours contract, right? If I want, I'm so free, I'm free as a bird. If I want to stop working, ever, I can just die. Oh, it's extraordinary. I don't want to paint my wife as some sort of grasping, bread-hungry churl. No, far from it. We get on. She's great. We have very different leadership styles, me and my wife. We're both natural leaders. I think that's quite unusual for a couple. We're two leaders. Most couples, a lot of couples, I think, is one leader, one follower. And if you're in a couple now and you're thinking, I wonder which one I am, I've got some bad news. Some couples, presumably, 2 followers, but we don't hear much from them because they don't get out. But a few couples, I think, a small percentage of couples, 2 leaders. Now, I don't like to ask at shows, are there any couples in where it's 2 leaders? Because one time in a gig, at the back of the room, a little voice went, yep. And then there was a pause, and another voice went, no, you're not. And it was... you don't want to do harm, you know. So, but I think me and my wife is true. We're 2 leaders. We've got different leadership styles. So I'm more like a loose maverick MacGyver. You know, I'm like a kind of rolling, adaptable kind of a leader, whereas my wife actually gets things done. So it's... We have to separate, we have to divvy up the labour. You know, I'm in charge of mowing the lawn, packing the car, lifting things. And my wife is the architect of all of our futures. Don't look at me like that. I'm good at packing. I pull my weight. I'm so good at packing. It's my dream one day to be going through a supermarket checkout, and when the lady says, do you need any help packing? By the end of the sentence, she realises she's in a bag for life. I just moonwalk. I climb up on the conveyor belt and pretend to moonwalk out, just slowly like that. That would be the plan. The reason I'm giving you this insight into my marital dynamic is to explain why, at the age of 44, my wife is currently trying to organise a grown-up play date for me to go on with another man in order that I make a friend. I want to be absolutely clear about this. I'm not lonely, but I moved to Bristol. I moved to a foreign city at the same time as I became a dad. So I don't get the chance to meet other dads, right? They all socialise during the evening and work during the day. I have to socialise during the day because I work in the evening because of you. And so I don't get to see them. It's just not fair. My wife can walk up to any other mum and go, hey, we should get a coffee. Should we be friends? Suddenly they're friends. Doesn't work like that for men, does it? Not the system at all. No, the system for male friendships is you've got the kids you knew at school, minus one who died, and that's it. And that's how it's always been. That's how it's supposed to be. So we met this guy. We met this one guy. Ollie was his name. We met him at we met him at a toddler rave. That's a thing. 3 hours of banging techno on a Sunday afternoon. Load of haggard parents at the side of a church hall. 100 kids with their tops off, ripped to the tits on fruity pouches. I remember this one specifically because it was, there's always a costume theme, and this particular one was superheroes, right? And there was one particularly attractive younger mum had come dressed as Catwoman, and all of the other mums were like, oh, fuck off. It was just great. We met Ollie. Our kid was playing with his kid, and then eventually we chatted for 5 minutes, and then his kid ran off, Ollie followed him, and that was that. And then ever since then, my wife has been stalking him on Instagram in order to pimp him to me as a potential friend. Right? So I'll be washing up, and she'll sidle up to him and be like, have you seen Ollie's into martial arts and board games? And you like board games and talking about martial arts? And suddenly it's put me in the position I'm like a kid on my first day at nursery going, I don't want to go, like that. Because I don't know how to package myself as a potential friend for a grown man. I just don't know how to do it. I've written and then deleted an introductory text to him, God knows how many times. Hello, mate. Hey, friendo. Ew, who am I? I don't even talk with the friends in my life that I love. My mate, my best mate, Noel, right? We've known each other since we were 11. We've travelled the world together. I love the bones of him, right? And I will see him for a cheeky pint once in a blue moon. It's a running joke in our household. I'll come home and my wife will go, how's Noel? And I literally won't understand the question. How is he? How is he? How is Noel? He is simply Noel. Immutable, unchanging. He reminds me of me, I remind him of him. That's why we hang out with each other. I can tell you what he thought of the movie The Suicide Squad. Is that what you mean? Is that how he is? And then she'll say something weird like, but hasn't his mum been ill? I don't know. How do you know that? Stop asking my friends questions, you weirdo. Because we don't speak with each other, we just talk at each other. We sit and conversationally groom one another like a pair of orangutans on a log in Borneo, picking fleas out of each other's fleece. Did you like the film? Yeah, yes, I did like it. You were like me. Yes, I am. Yeah. Did you enjoy Black Mirror the other day? Yes, I didn't like it to begin with, but then I did like it by the end. Yes, I'm the same, yeah. And tell me, are you playing that the Red Dead Redemption game on the PlayStation? No, I've had to stop playing that. It's a little bit too immersive. Yes, I'm the same. Talked about this at a show in Bristol. A stranger tweeted me the following day, Stu, I really enjoyed the stuff about the grown-up play days. Just so you know, my friend Clive lives in Bristol and he's free during... That's not what this is! This is not some sort of pathetic, platonic pickup line. I'm not coming out here going, hello, men. I am very lonely and I wish to play Settlers of Catan. It's not that.
So you know what else I used to look up to, right? I used to look up to other people's dads. Because my dad was a great bloke. I thought everyone's dad must be a great bloke. It's just going to work out. Didn't work out at all. I became a dad, and I figured out it doesn't take that much to become one. Now, it's almost as if they let any old fuckwit become a dad now. It's amazing. There's a dad who's got kids at my kid's school, right, and he's a cool dad. I can't stand cool dads. I am just having a second pop at you, cruising around trying to elicit high fives from kids, that sort of shit. It's contemptible. This guy, right, he's one of these guys. He's in his 40s and he's got fashion hair. And not that reverse sideburn look you sometimes see on the modern youth. No. He's got like spiked up hair. All the way around, spiked up hair. And he's tall, but not tall enough for me not to know what's going on up there. looks like a fenced-off slice of Devon. And all the other parents there at school pick-up time, they're largely mothers, so they're not tall enough to see what's going on, but I know. They're like, oh, leave him alone. He's a bloody great bloke. He's just a square peg. He's a special ray of sunshine in an otherwise flavourless world. He's amazing. For bullshit. I can't stand this prick. He's a loser. He's trying to negate something shit going on in his life. You'll see. And most parents, right, who are resigned to the natural ageing process, when you turn up at school time to pick up your kids, you just turn up and through gritted teeth go, get in the fucking car, you little thing. Cool dad, because he's cool dad. He comes flying through the front gates on a skateboard, doing that shaky telephone symbol on his way in. And this thing, right, that's fine if you're an actual skater on your commute between acts of vandalism and petty crime. Or maybe it's all right if you're fresh off a mid-flight brawl and you've been zip-tied to C-38G and you're posing for a photo with one of your mates doing the double, the Gold Coast Denpasar salute. Or as it's better known in the media, the Jetstar jiggle. While I'm down here too, I'm not going to be one of those comedians who rips into Bali. Heaps do that. It's too much. Well, Bali's fine. Like, statistically, about a third of you make multiple trips to Bali. And I'm not here to judge you filthy fucking pigs. That's not my bag of chips. But when you're going to Bali, just remember who you're talking to when you announce your trip to Bali. I work with this bloke, and he says that he goes to Bali by himself a fair bit, which should raise eyebrows on its own merits. When he sees he's going, he says, oh, no, I'm going to Bali, but I'm going to the nice part. I go to the beautiful part. I don't go to that shit part where there's Aussies bashing each other on the beach and there's chip packets and Band-Aids floating around the ocean. Yuck. No, that's disgusting. I go to the beautiful part. You wouldn't believe it. It's just over the hill. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's just full of om and spirituality and noticeably less dogs on the dance floor. And if you're lucky, in the beautiful part, you'll bump into some of those perverts who've had to relocate their businesses from the hinterland areas of Australia over to a country where collecting vulnerable women is slightly less frowned upon. So, yeah, slippery old slope yoga, isn't it? But that's it. With yoga, right, 1 minute you're in a beautiful Byron Bay studio just down-dogging and you look over your shoulder and the yoga instructor's back there tucking his stiffy into the sash of his caftan. And you go, that's fine, that's probably just an isolated incident. And the next minute you're on an exclusive holistic femaleness retreat in Bali in a remote location, just getting invited to the guru's special gazebo of oneness to sweep it out and administer his daily perineum massage. And that's the nice part of Bali. I'd rather be down in Kuta getting a half W bin tank smashed across the back of my fucking head any day. It's one of those places too where men come back, right? This guy I work with, he came back from his latest trip to Bali and he said, look, I've been to Bali again. I brought back a little souvenir. I go, man, that sounds sus, man. Souvenirs are fine, but when you say little souvenir, we're not talking about a snow dome or a fridge magnet, are we? No. You've gone and got yourself another cluster of boils around the base of your tockley, haven't you, filthy animal? He said, no, nothing like that. And how dare you, one of my oldest and closest friends, judged me based only on the cliche that I've been to Southeast Asia by myself. Again. Particularly galling in front of my new fiancée here, whose anglicised name is Little Souvenir. So this thing, right, that's fine in those situations, but the Ridgy Dish, that's got no business at school pickup. I saw Cool Dad, right, this fucking hacky sack owner he was at a kid's party in a public park. It was one of those parties where they'd set up a slack line which is a ratchet strap that the moderns put between two trees to act as a handy trip hazard for people like me. And the kids can try to balance on it. It's a good time, whatever. But cool dad, because he's cool dad, he had to go himself. And right in front of everyone, he's attempted a backflip dismount and ended up with one leg either side of the thing. Which most men, on their better late than never path to maturity, would see doing your nuts on a truck strap as a watershed moment. But not this poon. No way. He's one of these guys who says things like, oh, age is just a number. Well, yeah, well, so's bone density, you fuckstick. So, last time I saw this negligent parent, he was down at a trampoline centre. I don't know if any of you have one near your houses, but there's a trampoline centre near where I live. And it's trampoline centres. It's a place you can take your kids and they can just rattle their brains about for 5 or 6 hours in a row under what must be said is very lax supervision. And then you just take them home, put them to bed, hope they wake up. I was down there, right, and I saw cool dad then. Because he's cool dad, he got himself a wristband and had a go himself while his kids were on there. It was just heaps of kids and cool dad double bouncing and having a bloody great time. And after only 10 minutes of frolicking, I heard that scream, that horrible scream you only ever hear from children when they're thinking, shit, we should have got ourselves a more appropriate hero in our lives. One more in touch with his ageing physical limitations, such as our new stepfather, Daryl. Because cool dad, he was being wheeled onto an ambulance with a compressed spine and a broken nose inflicted by his own knee. And he's in quite a lot of pain. He had his hands on his head there and he had to take one of them off to show us that he's all right. Causing everyone else to see what was going on up there. And then they knew what I already knew. The cool dads are no good fucking losers. Just trying to hide their baldness one way or another.
Very, very private. Every morning when I go into Costa, I give a fake name every single time. Don't know why I do that, right? In fact, I've given you a fake name there. I go to Starbucks. I wouldn't be seen dead in a Costa. You kidding me? The name I do give, though, is John Spencer. Now, you don't know this, but I did some research, found out the local area manager of all the Starbucks near me is called John Spencer. That gets you a good cup of coffee. But I lie all the time. I lie to my friends. Like if I'm out at a restaurant and everyone's saying, oh, what are you going to order? What are you going to order? I hate that question. So I lie. Right? I hate that question because I'm like, you're going to find out in 2 minutes. Why are we bothering with finding out this stuff? So I'm like, oh, I don't know, the scallops. And then a big conversation breaks out about the way I'm pronouncing scallops. And then the waiter comes over, I'm like, the steak, please. And my friend's like, what? You said, we had a whole conversation about the way they pronounce scallops and now you ordered the steak. Are you telling the truth about anything, Stuart? Did you even get here by hot air balloon? I'll never tell. But it's so difficult these days to be truly private because, like, social media, the algorithms know everything about us. They know where we are, what we like, but they're not listening in. Found this out. They're not listening in, and I think that's a shame. That's a shame, right? I want it listening in. Are you kidding me? I'm fucking funny. I don't mind. If you're in the government, who have you got today? Stuart. Oh, you're in for a good day. I don't want them knowing where I am. I'm 39. I go to M&M World way too much. I'm obsessed with that place. If you don't know about M&M World, it is a shop in the middle of London, the most expensive place to have a shop in the entire country, and it is 4 floors, and all it is no one's favourite chocolate. That's all they sell. It has to be a criminal organisation. That is the only explanation. I don't understand it. I'm obsessed. But because of the fact that you're in here with me, your algorithm will now be affected by being here with me. You'll start getting served adverts after the show for gilets. And presumably my algorithm will be affected by being in here with you, and I'll start getting served tickets to a more mainstream comedian. Always hurts when that one gets a laugh. I realised that I was having a problem with privacy when I was sat on a train and I suddenly realised I was panicking because I didn't want people to know I was getting off at the next stop. I thought, that's too private, right? But you know that feeling when you're on the train and you're just sort of minding your own bees, just like, yeah. You know that feeling. You just minding your own bit. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You know that feeling, right? Yeah. Sorry, I know what's happened here. Bees. It's short for business. It's not normal length for bees. If any of you are like, oh, I could take bees on a train, trust me. If you take one thing from this show, you cannot take bees on a train. What? Fine, I'll get a taxi. What? Fine, I'll take the hot air balloon. But yeah, I was sitting there just like minding my own bees, just taking it all in. Yeah. And you know that feeling, and then you spot them, right? That person, they're putting on their coat, they're packing away their book, and you think, you fucking mug. It's fucking amateur hour over here. I got the cut of your jib, sunshine. You're getting off at the next stop, you pathetic fucking fuck. Now, I would hate anyone to think those terrible words about me. So I do everything I can to make it look like there is no way I'm getting off at the next stop. I try and look as comfortable as possible. I start taking layers off down to the base gilet. Couple of books out, get a couple of books on the go, right? And they're like, oh, this guy's got a lot of reading to do. He's here for a while. And then if that's not working, I'll start a haircut. Yeah. Not on myself. I've got that Play-Doh set, you know, where you force it through the skull and then it comes out. Bloody hell, he's got old fringe to do. He's here for a while. And then just to seal the deal, just in case anyone's on the edge, right, I'll just start a rumour. Classic me. That is classic me. And we all know how rumours work, right? You say something subtle that someone wants to gossip about. So the person next to you hears it, like, oh, I've got to tell everyone. I've got to tell everyone on the carriage. Right, something subtle just to tease the fact that you might be on the train for a little while longer than they expect. Just something casual. Just be casual, just for them to... Just I am in this for the long haul. That goes round the carriage like wildfire. Of course it does, right? That sort of gossip, you can't let that lie. And then just before the doors close at my stop, I fling everything out. Gilet flapping in the wind, Play-Doh hair going everywhere. I dive out after it. Everyone's like, what? What the hell was that? I don't know. It looked like a really comfortable man. Yeah, I heard rumours he was in it for the long haul. Yeah, I even took a photograph of him just in case someone asked me to design a pamphlet about how comfortable train travel can be. Oh, you're a graphic designer, are you? No, but I harbour ambition. You're human. I'm human. And then they kiss. What are we talking about?
I'm thinking of, you know, everyone says that you've got to upskill, like learn to code or something. I'm thinking of reskilling as a guide dog. Mainly for the uniform. You've seen those sexy little vests they got? Those slutty little harnesses they make guide dogs wear. I'd love one of those. You'd respect me if I was wearing one of those. An outfit that says, I'd love to stop and sniff your ass, but I'm on the job. I'm dedicated to my work. God, I'd be such a brilliant guide dog, you know. I'd be chatty like a cab driver. That would be like my thing. You know, like, hooks me up to the lead, and I'm like, all right, boss, where are we going today? Don't worry, I'll be your eyes and ears. He's like, just eyes is fine. I love seeing a guide dog, because they're the embodiment of, like, dutiful solemnity. Do you know what I mean? They stick by their person through thick and thin. Other dogs, they try and distract them, play with them, have fun. Guide dogs not having it. Have you seen this? Other dogs do to guide dogs what we do to the guards outside Buckingham Palace. But they're like that. They're not having it. Do you not think it's a bit heartbreaking sometimes when you see a guide dog? Because what? They're like a Labrador or a Golden Retriever or something. That's what they are, right? Famously like the happiest looking dog. But a guide dog's got such a straight face. You're like, wow, you must take your job really seriously. Do you know what I mean? I understand it because it's a hard job to have for a dog. It's a tough life being a guide dog. Your owner has the best stick in the world, but it's the one stick they're never going to throw. Imagine you're a dog and your owner has that stick and they never throw it. You'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? That's why they look so serious. Every day they wake up straight in their vest, look in the mirror and go, today's the day that thing goes flying. You believe it. Oh, man. I think mental health care has really gone downhill since the 1800s. Do you know what I mean? They used to put you in a big soft hotel with all your friends. Now you have to have like an emotional support animal, like a therapy pet, which is rubbish. It sucks. It's like, oh, you're suicidal. Would it help if we let you take a dog on the plane? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't get myself out of bed in the mornings, but I'll try getting a dog through airport security. See if that helps somehow. But then experience in this magical world, it kills the cynic in all of us eventually, doesn't it? Well, I'm saying that I got one of like a therapy pet and it changed my life. I got a therapy ant. That's right, I'm an ant mum. And but the government, they're going to take my ant away because the breed I have, it's called an American Ant XL. Size of this cunt you would not believe. 8 seats he takes up on the plane. And the government, they're going to confiscate my ant because they say that my breed of ant is responsible for over 90% of cases of toddlers being stolen from a picnic. Can you believe that? Not my Brutus. You just have to get to know him. Like foaming at the mandibles. I live with my girlfriend, just the two of us, and 2 other people.
I try and be a real parent. Right? And what I mean by that is try and be real. If I'm a little bit selfish during the birth of my child, I'll tell you, but I'm never going to claim to be perfect. I hate fake social media parenting. Make it seem like they're amazing parents. And what they do is they do this thing where they say things their kids have said. They post things that their kids have said. Oh my God, my son just said this and this is mental. And it's always some like socially conscious, woke point that this 3-year-old has made. And you know that 3-year-old didn't say it because you met that 3-year-old. And that 3-year-old is a fucking idiot. Last time I saw him, he was eating a pair of socks with a knife and fork and wearing potato waffles on his feet. So I don't know if he's making statements like that. You know what I'm talking about? It's parents who will say things their kids have said, so you think, oh, you've raised them so well. And then they blow up. These posts blow up. You know, some woman, you know, being like, was driving my daughter through Belfast earlier, and she said to me, Mummy, can I ask you something? And I said, darling, you can ask me anything. In brackets, that's a relationship we have. She said, Mummy, is that a man or a woman in the car beside our car? Is it a man or a woman? Because I'm not sure. And I said, yes. And she said, Mummy, thank you. I guess love is love. 12,000 likes. And you know it didn't happen, you know? Some guy being like, I was driving my son to school today and he said to me, Daddy, can I have more pocket money? And I said, come on, son. There's a cost of living crisis on. There are people less fortunate than us. You know, not everyone gets bought the very expensive gifts that I'm able to buy for you and your brothers and sisters. Why do you need more money? You should actually be thinking of ways to give your money away. And my son said, like all the charity work you do, Daddy. And I said, son, I do not like to go on about that. And my son said, but Daddy, did you not do that abseil down that hotel in 2002? With your bad back, that must have been so sore. I said, son, shush. I said, son, why do you need more pocket money anyway? And he said, well, Daddy, I don't think we should just stop at walking a mile in the shoes of asylum seekers. He said, Daddy, I need more money because I want to buy shoes for asylum seekers. Daddy, I want to buy a pair of memory foam Skechers for a Syrian immigrant. That's what I want to do, Daddy. My wee man. He's 7 months old. You know that didn't happen because kids don't talk like that. My kids don't talk like that. If I tweeted and posted what my kid said, my 3-year-old, it would not go viral. It wouldn't change the world because he's not this like political-minded, woke guy. My 3-year-old just talks like a 3-year-old. I can't tweet this. My son said to me recently, I was driving him in the car. My son said, Daddy, can I ask you something? I said, yeah, mate, what do you want to know? He said, Daddy, being serious, do you think anyone has ever pricked their nose so hard that they died? I said, I don't know, we're looking that up. Let me tell you, we're looking that up when we get home. That is a cracker. I fucking... Imagine. My wee man. You want to learn them stuff as well? Want to be a good teacher for my son, but you don't always know the answer straight away. I was driving my son recently. My son said, Daddy, can I ask you something? He's 3. I said, what do you want to know, mate? You ask me anything, I'll tell you the answer. He said, Daddy, see all the seas in the world? Is that all one sea, Daddy, or is it all wee different seas? I said, fucking... What? 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 Fucking hell. What do you mean? Is it? What do you? Do you mean like is all the different seas I tell you about like on the wee map we have, like I show you them, like the Atlantic Sea, the Irish Sea, and the Mediterranean? I said, do you mean are they all like separate, like individual bodies of water, or is it all like all joined up seas? He said, yeah, Daddy, are they all different or is it all joined up? I said, I'm on the hard shoulder with the hazards on, right? I said, well, they have different names, so there would be different... We'll ask your mummy when we get home. We'll have a laugh for her trying to explain it. She won't know. Some adults wouldn't know that, and you should think about that because some adults don't... Fucking shut up. And he started asking me more stuff, so I obviously I just put all the back windows down, sped up, because if you're on the motorway, once you hit 70, it goes... in his wee ears, and he's so, Daddy Murders, so I said, well, stop being weird. Like you guys know the answer. Yeah, it's a big giant sea. All joined up. Wouldn't be possible.
So these days, for me, it's Delta. Mostly it's because when I fly there, they call me a sky priority. And I like the sound of that. At first, it's too much. You're like, sky priority? Please, I'm a regular citizen like everyone else. One man, one vote. I never asked for anything more. Please, my father was a sky priority. But then they keep repeating it, and they massage your ego with it, with little perks. Oh, right this way, sky priority. A slightly shorter line. And then you find yourself agreeing with it, like, well, yes, of course. There's a certain ring to it after all. Sky priority. There's nothing wrong with that. My mother always said we were destined for greatness. Sky priority. I think I deserve a separately stanchioned entrance once in a while. Excuse me, are you staring at me? I'm going to move my bag over here. You can look in your own direction. I'm a sky priority, thank you. Well, that's it. Means that I'm a priority of these damn skies. All the airlines, they have little categories that they have to compliment you. Make you feel special because you paid too much money or you got lucky and you're in exit row or something. They have these frequent flyer programs. They've been doing these since the 1980s. And it used to start out with just gold. That was the that was what it all was 40 years ago. Congratulations, you're one of our gold members. But they had to pile on more shit to sound more special than that over the years. So at this point, gold status is the lowest category on any air. Gold is the worst. When they board the flight, they're like, we now welcome gold. Boo. Gold will board last in shame. Gold will be stuffed into the fuselage along with the luggage. Now they have all these categories that are outrank gold, and it's, when they board the flight, it's just a parade of precious metals and gemstones. To get on the fucking flight, when they board, they're like, we now prepare to welcome aboard all members of the elite Sapphire Squadron. All the rest of you will bow your heads. Contemplate the sacrifice of the Sapphire Squadron. And you will kneel. Respect and deference as the Sapphire Squadron. The jetway is yours. Oh, what's this? The sacred horn of the sky? What a rare and lucky day. That means that we have someone that outranks even the Sapphire Squadron. The Sapphire Squadron must yield. Yes, yes, yield, yield, I say. For today we welcome aboard a member of the Hermetic Order of the Platinum Chalice. Whatever it is, there's one guy. He's like, why, yes, I'm Platinum Chalice. I'm wearing my epaulets to prove it. I flew 50,000 miles yesterday. Here's the one extra bag that entitles me to excuse me. I'm a member of the Platinum Chalice. I am a member of the Sapphire Squadron, and I suggest you tread lightly. I am also beloved of this airline. Oh, the Sapphire Squadron, I've heard of you. Out of my way, dog. You will pay for this insolence once the One World Alliance hears of it. That's what's happening on Delta Airlines.